let me start the recording here. Get this rolling. Okay. And there should be a chat. Show chat. There we
Yeah, I see
go.
a chat on the right.
Nice one. All right. So this is our first stream. So
Oh, we've
on
done.
Discord stages. On
Yeah,
Discord
I was gonna say
stages. Yeah,
we've
yeah.
done a couple.
So give us a break on the Discord stages bit. We're still trying this out, but hopefully we'll be doing these more regularly. I was thinking I would do one for Creators Club one week, and then one for public the next week, and then back to one for Creators Club. Um,
That's a smart
we'll see
idea.
if we can keep up the pace with all the other stuff we're doing, but we really want to make sure that you
Seriously.
guys are getting like good content, that we're showing you all the new stuff. We understand that it's A, complicated, B, things can go wrong. The servers are not always perfect. So we really want to just make sure that we're getting you all the good information, the latest quirks in automatic 11.11, and that we're able to provide you pertinent information that you can use right away because the space moves so fast, and we're trying to make sure that we're keeping on top of it for you guys. Yeah, I mean, you guys see like every day someone's like, "Why aren't you running this extension?" It's like, "I this is the first I've heard of it."
Seriously.
There's
We
stuff
don't
just all the time.
we
Uh,
know a lot, but we don't know everything that's happening in this space. We're kind of, black boxed into our own, responsibilities and Revolved's got a lot on his plate. Our team has a lot on our plate. If you want, Revolved, if you want to keep with the introduction, that's fine. If you need a little bit of setup time, I can just take like 2 minutes and just go over kind of our development roadmap of what we're looking to do in the next 30 days, just to kind of keep everybody excited about features, help them feel confident that we're going to be here, we're not going anywhere, business is good, kind of a thing. Do you want me to take 2 minutes to do that
oh,
really quick?
I would not
Okay,
want to stop you from that. Like people definitely want to
perfect.
hear that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, when someone requests a feature, the process of, do we build this or not, kind of needs to simmer a little bit. We can't just put everything in that everybody asks for because, we would never sleep, we would never eat, we would never see our families. And so what we have to do is we have to prioritize, what everyone's asking for, try and put in what the biggest wins are, and try and get done the quickest things that we can get done that provide the biggest impact. So, for example, if I can push a little update that installs a really nice extension that fixes a bunch of bugs, I'm going to prioritize that because it's very little work for a very big impact. Some things that we're missing are like being able to see your Creators Club storage usage. And I know that I just dealt with somebody this morning who had a problem. Your boxes will lock when you fill up your storage. Super annoying because you have no idea where your storage is. You have to do a bunch of math to figure it out. I don't think that's appropriate. We don't want you guys having to do that. The problem is it's like really, really tough to get that working. It's a whole slew of scripts that we have to run every time you guys launch a server, and we can't even do it without you launching a server because these volumes they go cold when they're not attached. And that's the truly private storage that you guys are getting. So when these volumes aren't attached, we have to figure out how to count your storage when you launch a box. So we're working on it. That's something that a lot of people, need in order to not have their boxes locked. But let's move on. So yeah, we're working on getting your storage figured out so you guys can see your storage. We're pretty close to that. We're working on a new version, a new update. I have to get the new version of ControlNet out to the shared storage servers first. The new update for Creators Club is going to have some Dreambooth fixes. It's going to have some Deform fixes. There's a new version of Deform. We work with one of the developers on the Deform extension. He's here in our Discord helping us with a lot of cool stuff. So it's good to have him around. He's helped us quite a bit get a lot of bugs solved. We're working on something kind of cool that I don't really know when it's going to launch because it's just kind of going to launch when it launches. It's the ability to install extensions before you boot. So what that means is you're going to have a little UI that you'll be able to turn on and off extensions that we have running and that we have working, and you'll be able to just beam them to your box and have them ready to go. It'll take a little bit of like a approval process to make sure that extensions don't conflict and break things. Most of them are going to be okay. So that's going to be a little piece in the UI before you launch a box. You can turn on and off extensions to send to your server. And then another one that we're working on is the ability to do that same type of thing, but with models. We're kind of getting a little overwhelmed with our model storage. It's just a lot. When you load a model, there's 50 models you have to go through. When you switch and move between models, sometimes boxes get stuck or broken. That's just kind of what we got to deal with. And so we're looking at a different way to do that where we have a little search modal where you search Civit AI, you find the models you want, you click one, two, three, you put it into a little bucket, and you say, I want these three models when I boot my boxes. And you can pick and choose. Maybe we'll give you like up to 10 creators clubs. We can probably give you like 20 or 30. You'll get a lot of models, no worries. And then you just pick and choose three or four that you want to work with for that session. We don't want to load 30 models every time somebody boots an instance because that's going to cause boxes to be slow. It's going to cause loading times to be slow. And so we're just going to try and curate that a little bit better. We're looking at our own Run Diffusion extension that brings a lot of functionality into Automatic 1111, like your paths. A lot of people are like, what's my path? How do I get my images into Dreambooth? I think Revolved's going to talk a little bit about that. That's kind of hard to work with if you don't know what your paths are, and so we're working on that as well. So yeah, those are some of the things in the next 30 days that we're hoping to rework, along with some different thoughts about how storage works. Maybe we move your models off of your volumes and put them somewhere else and beam them into your boxes to save you guys tons of storage space. Maybe even introduce some cheaper plans. Right now, we're just focusing on what we can get out as quickly as possible, and what you have in front of you is what we have available. But yeah, we're optimizing. We have a lot of people coming in and using our service, and so that's obviously really good. And the promise has always been the more people that use our service, the more features we can build, and we're well on that path and on that trajectory. So that's it for me. Revolved, if you want to go ahead and take over. Does anybody, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I don't know if we're going to address features right now. This is more about Dreambooth, so let's kind of maybe stay focused on Dreambooth. But yeah, thanks guys. And again, you guys make this all possible. We appreciate our creators club so much. You guys are what fuel our development. I'll let you in on a little secret. We don't make a lot of money on those shared storage instances when someone just comes in and pays 50 cents. I can tell you right now, we're only able to take out a few pennies. But that's just kind of our way to get people into the service. The real value is Creators Club, and that's why you're here. That's why we're all working on this together. But yeah, so we appreciate you guys. Thank you for being patient with the bugs. We really are working hard, and hopefully we can have a service that's perfect here pretty soon. And late night popped in
There
right.
he is.
It was funny. All right, guys. So yeah, Revolve, go ahead and take over. I'm gonna be quiet
Awesome.
now.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. I mean, there's so much that we've been working on. Dreambooth's one of those things where, we had it working, Late Night did a video on it, and then it broke. But it didn't just break for us. It broke for everybody. There was basically an Xformers build that really wrecked everyone. And if you think about like how many different pieces of open source software come together for this, I mean, Xformers was made by Facebook. Like, there's like all kinds of weird pieces at play, and it's a very complicated engine of different moving parts. So stuff does break. We're really happy to have Dreambooth back. I'm really happy to have Dreambooth back. It's such a good tool, but it definitely has some quirks. So we'll go through that. Just making some wizards here. Diffuse Master asked me to make some men as well, not just have the pretty ladies on the generations here. But yeah, I just got some of the Loras running. I made a bunch last night, and we can go through those. We'll talk through just Dreambooth in general. Um, and I just want to add to what Diffuse Master was saying. These guys do work very, very hard. There's a lot of love that goes in behind the scenes that you guys don't see. And we do try to make an accessible tool to people. The Creators Club really gives us a little bit of extra support. It's kind of like the Patreon for us, because we want to give the best tools, put them in the hands of the artists, and get people who just maybe don't have the technical abilities to run their own stuff. Maybe they're frustrated with collabs. So we just want to make sure that, it's accessible, but also that we can provide the level of support and technology to the real people who are invested in the infrastructure and the platform, understand that it is fast moving tech, and we want to be able to provide that extra level of support to you guys. So don't hesitate to reach out to us, by DM. In the Creators Club, we're gonna just put a lot of priority on you guys to get you guys what you need. Put in feature requests, etc., because we want to show you guys the love. It means a lot to us that you're in this group. So thank you. All right, so you can see this here. I pulled a Civitai prompt, which is a great way to kind of get some good prompts really quick. Let me see if I can find it here. Was the one I pulled. This handsome lad. And I'm using a Lora that is kind of an illustration style. So it's based off of one of my favorite artists, a magic card artist who passed away, Quentin Hoover. And so, I've mixed up some different art in there to get this sort of almost like a graffiti kind of style. You can see like the hair has this sort of like flowing element to it. There's a lot of like different movement in the pieces. So that's kind of what I was going for on this Lora. And I've tried to make it in several different ways. I've tried to do checkpoints, I've tried to do Loras, I've tried to do textual embeddings. I've tried a lot of different stuff. So we'll kind of go through those, talk through them. And I don't have like a script or anything, so just feel free to pop those questions in.
You wanna do you want to tell them that exactly what they're looking at here? This is a custom LoRa running on top of Deliberate. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right.
So it is
So
trained on 1.5, but I'm running it
right,
on deliberate, which is
right,
cool.
which is actually pretty crazy because I've heard that if you create a LoRa for a model and you don't run it on top of that model you created on, you could get just a bunch of gobbledygook, and you have clearly not. You've got something way better than that,
Yeah.
which kind of shows you the power of the LoRa's. So does everyone? I'm just going to explain it really fast. A LoRa works
Mm.
like this. You have your model. So you train your. Oh, great. Why don't you go ahead and just explain it?
I was like, hey man, I don't have
Yeah,
a
you're like
script, but I
I
did
hadn't seen
I
this
did think of
presentation,
some
so go
stuff
for
here.
it.
Yeah, I don't want to lose all my points from late night AI here. He's apparently he's rating me, so I got to be on my game. Um, so this is the standard like Dreambooth model, right? You get the 4 gig to 8 gig model file, probably most effective, definitely storage inefficient. It's quite big. And the way that these work is they take noise and then through the diffusion process, they're denoising it until it creates the shape. And it's using this text embedding, which is a separate piece. The text encoder has like a basically it's understanding what you're writing, it's taking the noise, it's denoising it until it matches something close to its model, and then it presents the image to you. So that's like kind of at a very very basic level how that works. If we go to text embedding, the files are tiny, right? This is very very tiny. It has a special word embedding that it's using based on these images, so it doesn't need much space. It's able to approximate the image just based mostly on text, and that's how it's able to come up with something. And what's interesting about this is if you use a model versus a textual inversion, you'll see how the textual inversion or embedding shows up in the model differently. It like might be the background. It might be an object. It might be a texture in the face or something like that. So textual inversions tend to show up in very different ways. And that's why there's this one extension like the textual inversion editor, which I actually really want to play with. I haven't had much time to use it. But it's just
It's
a
so
massive thing
complicated.
of dialers. Yeah, of dials.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sliders. It's just like hundreds of sliders that you can use. So there's lots of ways that you can remix it. And so, there's no best way to do this. We're artists, we're creating here, and these are all paints in your palette, these different ways of
What
creating trainings.
what use case would you use a textual inversion embedding for?
I personally really like it for, I think of it like spices for my meal. So I might have like the meat of it is the model, maybe the Lora's the side dish or the vegetables,
Yeah.
but then the textual inversion would be like the spices, the salt and pepper.
Or the
I'm
garnish
sorry,
or
this is
something.
yeah, this is a
What
ridiculous
about,
metaphor, but
so
it,
would
it,
you
it
say,
just gives like little textures. So like my favorite, for example, is marbling, um,
yeah,
the marbling art, and that will just like give a little bit of flow to it. So I'll show you what I mean. Marbling art.
would it be like give everybody like scaly skin or something like that? Would you be able to do something like that with embeddings?
It's much less predictable.
Okay.
Like it won't respond as well to something. But you could, now that I say that, you could probably do it within a prompt where you're
Where
specifically
you're
saying like
bringing,
green scaly skin in the style of marbling art, and then perhaps a
right.
skin would show up. So you and then put that in brackets, and that would really lock
That
that
would cut
in. So we
through.
can actually
Yeah.
try that if we want and see what we get.
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
So let's see, close up portrait of a handsome
Yeah. Rob Chain said he
lizard
likes that
man.
metaphor.
All right. Long. Let's get this white robe out of here. So we're gonna give this a go. So handsome lizard man, um, and then we'll go green skin lizard marbling art. Well, actually, let's make it a statue. Handsome.
And we're doing this live, folks. So if we get
Yeah,
a
who
bunch of
knows?
frogs that pop through, sorry.
Do we? You know what? Let's just put a little that in there, the negative. Although it does
Oh, there
say
you
fully
go.
closed wizard, but we're live, so
Let's hope, yeah.
we just
Coins metaverse.
um, so handsome wizard statue. So then we're gonna go marbling art,
Do you have that
skin
embedding
tone,
loaded?
and hair. Well, I can just
Wait,
call it in via prompt.
I was just gonna say, can you? I mean, sorry, is it in your? And is it on
Oh
your
yeah,
server? Okay.
yeah.
Can you use a Lora? Oh yeah, it looks like you're gonna try and use a Lora
Oh,
with an
sorry.
embedding.
You're moving me too fast, Wes. I wanted to show that this is another model, Liberty,
Uh-huh.
which is a supposedly a great base model, but I use the Lora with it, and look what happens. So
Yeah.
not
Okay.
every model works with Lora, right? It's this is
Right.
just a trash output, right? So
Got it.
if I switch to another one,
Huh.
um,
Sorry.
we'll get this going here. No problem, no problem. There's two drivers on this one, but we'll figure it out. Hey, late night. Come on, man. I know you want to see those wizard abs. Tokyo, we'll get there. I promise.
Yeah, we do have
Oh, actually,
we do
I'll show you some that I got last night. Some of these results. So we
yeah,
got.
we have a good Tokyo Zeppelin has a good question.
Well, we're
While we're
waiting.
waiting for that model, hope that model comes through okay and doesn't crash anything.
Space Wizard. There he is.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So Tokyo Zeppelin's pretty new. Said he's been here. I'm assuming you're a he. I'm sorry if that's incorrect. You can correct me. I'm sure you can isolate subjects via prompts when creating, but I can't quite nail it. Say isolate a person and make it ignore the RGB noise in the image. Same way you could make it focus on learning glasses on a face and not the face itself. I'm sure it's possible in a combo of inputs, negative prompts, classification prompts, but it's difficult to figure out. You're right. Let's say you have an individual frames from videos. Let's say you have individual frames from videos. There's going to be motion blur. You don't want Dreambooth to think you're making a model of the noise, and you also don't want Dreambooth to think your person is a blurry ghost. I'm sure that you can somehow, with proper learning prompts, teach it that it's seeing a blurry image of a person, but the actual person themselves aren't blurry. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, that does make sense. So, gosh, I would say your best bet would be to caption those images the best you can. So if you have a blurry, you know, image of somebody moving like the Flash who's running down the highway and the whole background's blurred, you can definitely say the Flash running down a street or, my character running down a street, the background is blurred because of the speed, or, the frame is blurred because he's moving fast or whatever. And then, yeah, it could probably learn what that background looks like and apply that in future prompts. Um, if anyone has any input on that, I think that captioning would be your best bet to make sure that you caption your stuff really well. And you could probably
Yeah.
train it on that.
We'll go over that.
Oh,
So
cool.
so Tokyo, we're gonna go over all this stuff. That's just something that we're gonna talk about in the process. So captioning, instance prompts, class prompts, like just hold on. I know we're doing some little like preamble here and just talking about some other stuff, but we're gonna go into all this. And really go over it in detail because it is an important
Mm,
part. I think for
look at
what
that.
you're talking about, captioning is going to be important. And I'll talk about this later, but I'll just say something now. Everything you want to change in your model, you have to caption. So when you're writing captions, if you think of an image, in here, if I have this image, right? I'm going to do curly hair, which is how the marbling art showed up. It didn't show up in a little bit of skin tone, like maybe, but mostly it's just like coming through in hair, right? So you'd say like beard, you'd say armor, you'd say hood.
That is so cool. So you applied the marbling like textual inversion to your Lora on top of deliberate. That's so cool. I mean, yeah, it's crazy looking, but look at that.
This is why I love textual
That
embeddings.
is
Like
really cool.
they're amazing for just like creating this like art style, right? Like, we've
Jeez.
we've um, we've accentuated it, over accentuated it with this 1.4. So,
Yeah.
we can try some other ones. I think this is the other one, liquid.
I mean, you could do
Liquid.
1.1 and just kind of get a flavor of it, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me just see here. I think it's liquid.
Yeah, so Tokyo, what we're talking about is you're looking at kind of more doing a fine tuning method. So there's Dreambooth, which is like take my face, take this product, take this water bottle, whatever, and like inject this new thing into my model, right? And fine tuning is like, oh yeah, and then you're gonna say, and in order to extract that thing that I want, like West the best, I use that a lot for to find my face in my models because it like doesn't exist. If you want to just have a model that just responds to anything, you're gonna do a fine tune. I mean, I'm sure you can do it in Dreambooth. There's other tools like Stable Tuner or Koya, I think is how you pronounce that, that you can actually do like full on fine tuning. And then in Stable Tuner, we can show this later, maybe for another day. In Stable Tuner, they have a caption buddy. It's a whole app that allows you to quickly caption things, and it
Oh
uses
yeah.
clip and blip to be able to help you kind of get a baseline of what's in that image.
Well, we
With
have that
ChatGPT
in
4,
in here too.
like I
So
could see a
yeah.
whole website coming out one day where it just auto captions stuff for you, and we could see some really cool models.
Okay. So we're getting a little off track here, but
Yeah, yeah,
there are like tools for what Diffuse Master was talking about. It's all in Dreambooth. They've really tried to put everything in Dreambooth. And yeah, we'll go through all the tools, Christian. I'm going to talk about it. I just want to get through this. We looked at textual inversions. This is a thing. Diffuse Master, like we need to do more of these streams because there's just so
I
much
know,
stuff to cover, right? Like,
I know,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, and Stable Tuner is one, fine tune Koya is another. Koya. But there's also, you don't need Caption Buddy. There's a tool within what is it? Image Tagger WD 1.4 or something like that. That's an extension. We'll install that. Take a look at it. Um, so there's a lot of stuff. So let's talk about Loras. So Loras are great because they're quick to train, and we're going to do some speed runs on this stuff today because I want to see how fast we can make some, if we can get them small. I don't want everyone to just be sitting around waiting for like a 2 hour thing, which I was doing last night. We can go over that model together, and I'll show you kind of the process there for making a large Lora. But I'm not going to make you sit through 2 to 3 hours for that. Did that last night. We can just do some quick Loras, see how fast we can go. The process here is very similar, but you see you've got these additional weights, right? So it's updating this gradients, and gradients are going to be very important in the training process. You wouldn't think so, but it can have an interesting look to it. So we're going to go over that because it can be important with batching. And then hypernetworks are a secondary network to predict new weights. So similar to Lora, came before Lora, a little bit different. But we can, talk about those two before. Okay, so anyways,
Cool.
we've gone over this. I did liquid light art. You can see it's got a different
Whoa,
effect.
that
These
is so
are
cool.
these are very fun. Liquid light is the old 70s club visuals. I used to do some of this art. Actually, you get like pieces of clock glass that fit together perfectly, and then you put like oils and food coloring and like different things in there, and it makes these like strange bubbles that you put in those like overhead projectors for like schools. The ones with the transparencies on it. Um,
Yeah, Rob Chain says he remembers.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
that's cool.
all right. So we've got textual inversions. We've got the Lora going.
That is so cool.
Now, I want to show you guys some stuff. So we did a test yesterday, or I did a test yesterday on. Hold on, let me just get this loaded on some Loras that I did. So this is the first Loras that I did where I tried a bunch of different outputs with different steps, different methods, and then I put them all in an XY grid. And so this is a great way to determine what's working and what's not. So you can see across the top, and I'll show you how I did this in the next bit. But there's different steps, different methods of models, and you can see some of them have the model show up, some of them don't. And if we go down here, this is the strength of the Lora. So it's just like I've got this one right now, I have it at 0.9. So if we go over this right now, you can see 0.2, nothing, 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 little bit of green. I was like St. Patrick's Day. Looks like one of them is kind of bringing something through early. And as we get down here, this is the style I'm looking for right here. And you can see the one that came through looks like it was like kind of overtrained or something, right? Like that's not the look we want. We wanted this sort of look here.
Oh, hey, really quick. It says that screen sharing is frozen. Are you guys all frozen? Yeah,
Oh,
we
it's
got some.
different window. No, it should be good. You
Let's
can
see,
see the
different window. I
mouse.
can see the mouse.
You
Yeah,
guys can't
you
see
guys
my XY?
not frozen, but I couldn't see the grid. So they couldn't see the grid. That's what they said. Sorry to
That's
interrupt
weird.
you.
I am sharing the screen, right?
We've got
Oh,
the
it was the
one.
window. It was the window. Hold on.
Okay.
Fucking, it's very unobvious. Hold on.
Thanks, guys. We'll get this
Yep,
sorted
yep,
out in
yep.
a second.
Okay. This should work. Apologies about that. So we'll go back up to the top.
There it is.
All right. Does everyone see it? Yes. And I'll keep the chat up so I'm not
Oh,
going
you're
off.
good. I mean, if
Yeah.
I can always chime in. I'm watching
Okay.
the chat. If you're okay with me interrupting with problems like that.
Okay. Cool. So you can see here different steps across the top, different model training methods, different settings. And you can see that some of these worked, some of these didn't. This one came through differently. And as we go down, this is a strength on the left-hand side. So you can see here's the green coming in. You can see the green hits the building. This prompt had like green hair or white hair, green eyes. So the funny thing was the background went green. And here you can see this section at the bottom, these two rows, is where the Lora actually starts to work. And this is 0.9 strength and 1 strength. And you can see these are two different methods on the bottom of training. And then these are different steps. And when it hits here, this like green and white haired Billie Eilish looking character, Billie Eilish, I don't know, I'm not with the kids these days. This is where it overtrained. So you can see the difference. Let's like really zoom in.
Yeah, how do you tell that? Like,
So the overtraining is subtle, but you can start to notice it. So two things. One is you've got here, you can see the hand is not bad, right? Under here, look at this hand. Not great. Over here, pretty good. Over here, what the fuck, right? So this is overtrained. This is pretty close, and this is undertrained. Not enough detail information coming through, pretty good detail information coming through, and then over here you start to get these little inconsistencies. Like this is probably actually an artist's signature coming through in the wrong spot. Here you can see the texture of this. Look at the texture looks good here. Over here, it's gone, right? And then you get this
mm,
like overtrained thing. And there's this random tattoo here. So when you're overtraining, you'll start to see little artifacts pop up, little
you'll see
strange
artifacts
things.
pop up and you'll see some detail go away. It'll
Yeah,
start to
here
smooth out too much.
here's on point nine. Again, you've got what is this green thing, right? Like that is that
Mm,
her eye? There's this like this was supposed to be like, a neck piece and now it's like disappeared. Here there's less information, but you can see that it's kind of coming through pretty good. So this is
cool.
just a good example of, different methods. These ones, like here, you can see this eye is like kind of weird, undertrained. You can see here, undertrained. Maybe this one's kind of got the texture a bit better, right, on there. But it's just like you can tell here, there's like not enough information. And this one, for some reason, just didn't work at all. Look, the style's not coming through. Now, the reason this one doesn't have the style coming through, look at maybe it showed up on the shirt, right? The painting style. This
Oh
is
God.
where doing the right settings for tokens and prompts can be really helpful because this is clearly not working. Um, so this is for a style, Rob. Yes, this is for styles, but I will tell you that if you're doing a person, the information about artifacts, overtraining, undertraining, that does apply. So, and you can use these XYs, very helpful as well to see this kind of thing. It's this example where the person doesn't come through. This is specific to the style, but you'd have a different sort of issue if it was a person, right? Like it might be the face appears and maybe it's the correct hair, but the person's face is different, right? Or something like that, like it's just not fully coming through. I also want to point out that there's some other interesting things like here where you can see that the photo is being affected by the style as it's coming through, which is kind of cool. That's at point 8, right? So it looks like we've reached this mythical point of what they call convergence, which is the holy grail of training. You want to hit the convergence is the bullseye of training. So you're trying to get as close to the convergence as you can get. And we'll talk through that, like different ways to do that.
We've
So
already shown this way. Yeah.
This
I mean,
is,
this is
yeah,
a
this
good
is
way
a
to
way to
do it.
find your closest convergence. So you'll notice on the top here, we've got these settings, right? 7020, 7655, 8100, 8640. This is actually a different training session that came through, so it's actually related to 6480B. Um,
What are
but
those numbers?
this is this number of steps.
Oh,
And I put B on the end because I had another 6480. So
mm,
this is where I tried a different method, and then I was comparing all the different methods to see which one worked.
I see. Cool.
Yeah, so next, what I did is I took the ones that I liked and I checked out different steps to see how, and you can do this with CFG, you can do this with different settings, but you want to see how your model that you've selected, and in this case I did 8100, so you want to see how it responds, right? So here, I believe this was DPM2M, the sampler. So I've got the strength of the Lora and the number of steps. And you can see the style comes in at 10 steps here with no strength necessary. If we go down to the strength here, you see, okay, we start to get something at 0.8. These 5 and 10 steps are not doing great. You can see it almost has that like overtrained, undertrained kind of look there. But then here, there's barely any difference between 20 and 30 steps. So if I wanted to check this out, I could save some time and just go, okay, all I need really is 20 steps and I get a good image. Maybe 25 if I'm picky. So that can save some time. I heard someone said once, which was, if you have to go 45, 60 steps, you're doing something wrong. The steps can compensate, but it really depends on what level of detail you're looking for, and sometimes you need that extra pop, or you have a lot of different layers. Like maybe you have a lot of Loras, a lot of textual inversions, and so those extra steps will help that stuff come out into your picture, because otherwise it's going to try to fit that information in less steps and not as much of it is going to come through. Okay, phew.
Very cool.
I need to grab some water really quick.
Should
I
we
did
grab some
not
questions?
grab one. Yeah, do you want to grab some
You
questions so
go.
far? And,
Yep.
and then we'll dive right into the Dreambooth and we'll start some trainings. Just give me a second here.
Okay, go ahead and put some questions here in the chat that's related to hopefully what we've been talking about. If the questions are garbage, I'm going to delete them. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so does this apply? Oh, we already talked about that. Does that step count apply when using image to image or control net? I believe it's just image to image. Control net's probably a whole different beast. Um, yeah, so the first matrix that you saw was generated to try and find the correct LoRa strength and the correct LoRa, I guess, training steps that would work the best. And then the second one was what settings are going to work the best to get me the design, get me the style that I'm after. The settings being the steps and the strength. And you were able to kind of follow that matrix to find, the correct, I guess, grid, zero point 0.9 strength and 25 steps kind of was giving us the best. So that's where you're going to want to start your inference on. You kind of need to go through these two steps to make sure that your LoRa or your training actually worked. I mean, there's every time we see somebody, you know, provide an image, it's always the best of the best. And sometimes it's hard to get to that same spot unless you dial in those settings, the same settings that they used to kind of hone in and find, you're just mining. We talk about this all the time. You're mining, you're mining, you're mining. You saw there was a lot of dirt in there, a lot of junk, but there's also a lot of gold. And so once you find that ore vein, you just have to keep those settings and you can start creating some really cool stuff around those settings. And that's what Revolved was demonstrating is the quick way to kind of find that without, changing prompts and taking notes. You're going to want to do this XYZ matrix. I think it's XY matrix.
You can do
If you don't
Z.
know how to,
Yeah, you can
you
do.
can't do Z.
Yeah.
Right.
I will say, Rob, in regards to your question, does a step count apply? So image to image and ControlNet are slightly different in that they are changing the diffusion at the beginning. But I will say that like every different thing that you're adding into the diffusion process may mean it needs more steps. I'm going to give a kind of confusing metaphor, but I just thought of it and I just kind of want to get it out because I think, some of you guys will get it. We've been talking about deforum. I'm still in that deforum mindset. But if you think of like steps as are kind of like frames. And the reason why I say that is because you could have like a movie, but if it's just about a dog sitting on the floor, how many frames do you need to show people that the dog is just sitting on the floor? Probably not that many. You don't need a Marvel movie to do that, right? To like convey that message of the dog sitting on the floor. And the
Hmm,
more
yeah.
steps you add, the more frames you added to this movie about the dog, right? You get some little intricacies. Maybe the dog like gets up and sighs and then turns around in a circle and sits back down again. Like, but how much more information is that conveying to the person beyond there's a dog on the floor? Like that's what you need to communicate. And so you don't need that extra stuff, but sometimes it helps to express it a bit more. So think about steps as you can allow it to express it a bit more, but ultimately, if you go too many steps, it's going to take a lot longer. You might not get any additional detail. It really depends on the sampler. So some samplers, and there's lots of comparisons on Reddit for this. If you go look for them, lots of people have done these massive XYs looking at everything. They've done YouTube videos. There's just a huge amount of information on steps and samplers because they're very, very related. But a lot of these just completely drop off at 30 steps. And there's no difference between 30 and 75. And some of these comparisons even go up to 150 steps and they'll just stop at 70 or, they'll stop at 30. It really depends. So Manderso, good question. Um, the samplers I like to use, that I use for different purposes. So Euler A is, in my opinion, one of the most fun for me. And one of the hilarious things about that is there's okay in the science of this is the DPMS was kind of the standard in machine learning for a long time. And this doesn't mean stable diffusion. I'm just talking machine learning, right? These samplers were used in machine learning. And DPMS was used for a very long time. And Euler Ancestral came out, and it was an oddity. It's a total strange thing that people don't even understand. So people don't know why it works. But Euler A, you barely need any steps to get a good image. You get the strangest stuff. The code is so simple that people were like, I have no idea why this works. The code is like way simpler than any other sampler we have out there, yet it gets these creative results so fast. So I really like Euler A, clearly. I also like DPM2M. And the reason why is a lot of these other DPMs are very slow. DPM2M goes the same speed as the other standard ones, so it doesn't slow anything down when you use it, but you get pretty consistent results. Here you can see we got a very wild variation. Like look at this one. Totally strange. Let's just do another one real quick. And this is when you're putting in embeddings, you're putting in Loras. Euler A will give you like more varied results, mixing different things together, which can be great. If you're going for a more like creative process, you're like looking for an image. Like look at this, we got a guy in a bubble right now. That's hilarious. Literal thought bubble. Yeah, Euler A is lots of fun. DPM2M I get for like a little bit more consistent. DDIM I like for in painting. It's also quite good for speed. Yeah, here we've got some fun stuff.
Those
I love this.
those
It's
those
so funny.
Keras.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Finish.
No, that's it.
Sorry. Yeah, those plus Keras ones, they also work well on lower steps. I've had luck, I've had good luck with like 15, 18 steps, even down to 12 sometimes, and you can still get really good stuff. So keep that in mind. If you just want to like start to generate some quick samples of things, either Euler A is pretty quick, or you can do some of these DPMs with low steps, like 15, 12 to 15 steps, and it'll actually produce good things. Just
Yeah.
play with it.
Yep. All right. So, do we want to get? I know. So somebody was trying to do an embedding last night, and I'm interested in trying that. We can spin one up if people want. Do we want to do an embedding? Should I just go straight into Dreambooth? Happy to do either. But just I'd like to
What do you
know
guys
what
think?
people want. If you
Put
guys are
your
already
vote in.
familiar with embeddings and stuff, that's fine. We do need to like, I want to show you how I pre-process videos and stuff like that. Okay, so
Here, I'm going to say embedding and vote here with an emoji. Hang on one second. No, nobody type.
oops, password.
Okay, so click on my, just click a thumbs up on the one that you want to do, the one that you want to see. We have one for Dreambooth, two for Dreambooth, three for Dreambooth. Uh-oh, looks like Dreambooth's gonna win.
Lora,
Laura,
Lora.
Laura. That would be Dreambooth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So vote for Dreambooth if you want Laura. Okay, go ahead and do Dreambooth, Revolved.
All right. So this
Pretty
is
clearly.
a bunch of scans that I did. So these are from a photo book. You can see even I've got the scans like this shitty crop here. There's like the inside of the page warping and stuff like that. I just grabbed some random ones from a photo book because they were great images. I'm probably going to rescan them at some point, but they're really fun, just like wild. And you've got this like kind of texturing. So we can do something on that because that'll be pretty quick. I will show you, this is the image set that I used for the one that we were working with before. So this is the artist Quentin Hoover. I tried to get as much of his stuff as I can. Unfortunately, since he's passed, there's not much out there, and he was sort of at a very early internet age, so a lot of the scans are bad quality. But there's lots of fun stuff that he's done. I mean, a lot of the art he did is for like a magic card, so I'm like, can't get the best quality scan from it because it's tiny. So it goes. So I've already pre-processed those. So let's try to do a Lora based on the darkroom one. And what I will do is I will delete, I think colors was processed. Yep. So I will delete this. So now we just have the images. And so the first thing we want to do is process these, caption them, and get it looking good. Now there's multiple ways to caption. So what we're going to do is we go mount, private, slash darkroom, right? That's our source directory. We need to have a destination directory, and it cannot be the same as the one that's here. So we will just use train. And now I would go like this. 512, 512. We will create flipped copies. Why not? Now here you have two options, blip or deep buru. So I would say blip for most images works best. Deep buru, I would say for anime. It's also probably better for not safe for work stuff, simply because the captioning is a little bit more detailed. You can imagine why. Deep burus are image boards, and there's a vast amount of content out there that's already tagged. and there's programs you can use to download from these boards images that are already tagged and import the tags, and then it will already have the captions on there. So we do not support this. I'll tell you, it is a pain in the ass to get this set up. And you are totally on your own on here. They're pretty nice on Discord if you're trying to figure things out. But this is a program for downloading and images and including the tags that they have. It is absolutely absurd. If you want to download 100,000 images using this, you will before you even realize it. So if that's a route you want to go, just know that it's available. But yeah, I wanted to let you guys know about this and folks, because it's completely crazy. Like, you can see the stuff people have here. You can tag everything how you want to. It's totally wild. There's like downloaders or subscribers, so you can like subscribe to things whenever there are new photos posted. It'll automatically add it to your archive and stuff like that. Anyways, so I don't use Deep Baru very much. This is another thing that's really interesting, is the way that the model is captioned very much affects it. So when you see things like on Civitai, and I'm sorry, we're going to go to the, hold on, let me just make this safe, because sometimes it's pretty disturbing. But when you go on this stuff and you click here and you look at a prompt, this guy didn't include their tags. Okay, let's find a prompt here.
I've talked to the Civitai founder, and they are working on cleaning that up, making it more safe for work, by the way. So they want to be a leader in this space, and they can't do that. You can't have businesses going to this website to grab assets when you've got all sorts of stuff on there. So
Yeah. So when you see, these ones don't really have it. Oh yeah, here. When you see like one girl, that's a Deep Baru tag. So, and the Deep Baru tags are very much like this. They're like neck tattoo, nose piercing, pink hair, solo, tattoo on face. They're not very like descriptive. They are very much like just like individual things. And you'll see when people Deep Baru tag, another thing is that it will often tag like anime characters in the stuff that you're doing that are not even like related to what you're doing. So when you Deep Baru tag, you have to go through and remove the character tags. Otherwise, it might even call like a weird piece of the thing here. Here's like, and you can see here they've got like Loras and different stuff like that. But anyways, yeah. So Deep Baru tags are great for not for safe for work or anime, but otherwise you want to use Blip. So we'll go through and tag these. Let's do 768. Now you can do 768 with 1.5. You can do it with 2.1. You don't need to do 512 if you're 1.5. You can do larger. It takes a little bit more time, obviously. So we'll give that a second. We'll come over here. So this is a medium box. Going to extend it. Moment you say porn, everyone in the chat chimes in, of course. It is so funny, like where we are right now, and the fact that the technology like is being pushed by these like hentai posters is very hilarious to me. Kind of love the joke as it is. I just think it's funny. All right, so pre-processing finished. For some reason, I didn't get a couple images. Let's take a look. And if we open up one of these, you can see a desert with a mountain range in the background and a blue sky above it with a few clouds in the sky. Like, not bad, but what's interesting about this is you've got like film grain. You've got like, what time is it? Why is the sky dark and this like light? Like, there's a lot of different stuff in here that's like not really like how is the caption going to show up for this one, right? Like, what is that? A red and black photo of a window with blinds on it and red light coming from the blinds. See, it's actually like Blip is
Whoa.
good. Blip is good. Now, I'm going to get a little theoretical here, but we are at a very interesting catalyst point for Stable Diffusion. So in 1.5, the text encoder was very varied. 1.5 was actually released by Runway, the video AI platform. It was not released by Stable Diffusion, or Stability, that is. And Emad gets so much flack for it, even though he didn't release it. He didn't do the trending on ArtStation stuff. That's not him. It's all Runway's model, where they just grabbed a ton of stuff and put it in there and released it to the world. So they opened Pandora's box for this stuff. Now, the text encoder, I don't remember the exact names, but when Emad released 2.1 or 2 and then 2.1, he used a different text encoder. So they switched to OpenClip. And what they found is OpenClip came along before like GPT-3 was kind of out there. And since it's taken off, there's been a lot of vision tech that's come out for captioning stuff. And what I think is that the next version, which could be XDS XL or ST 3.0, Emad's got kind of both. I think one of them is going to be like behind his like Dream Studio, and then another one will be open source. But the text encoder, I think, is going to be way more fun. Like, I think it's going to be like better than 1.5. And the text encoder is really what's driving a lot of the variety. What I find in 2.1 is I'll get these beautiful high resolution photos, but people are like, hey, the bodies aren't responding right. And then they think it's, oh, maybe it's because they didn't train it on not safe for work stuff. But I think a big part of it is that the text encoder is not as good. So that's just something to keep in mind, is that there's different text encoders between the two platforms. 1.5's different, a little more responsive. 2.1's a bit more rigid, maybe not as good, not as plastic. So just think about that. Actually, I'd say 2.1 has a much more plastic and feel to it, like especially in people. You get like a lot more like models that look like they've had plastic surgery in 2.1 when you're prompting it, depending on the training. But you can get really good stuff. It just takes good captions. It takes going through and really writing your prompts out. And you have to write your prompts very differently for 2.1 versus 1.5. Likewise, you have to caption differently for 2.1 and 1.5. Now, how do you have to caption? That is something that is like very experimental. I will point again to the fact that well, what just happened there? We lost connection here. Hold on, let me open it again.
Yeah, do a refresh on it.
Oh
Oh,
no.
what happened? Did your server go down?
Oh,
Oh, you're toast.
box dead. All right.
Getting
Well,
on top of your stuff. This happens. What were you doing? You weren't even
nothing.
doing
I mean,
anything.
I just
Yeah.
processed some images and whoops. I don't know.
Maybe I could have pulled the logs, found out, but
Yeah, dead box. Yeah. So reliability is something we're always improving. This stuff does happen.
I'm trying to
Again,
get
yeah,
yeah, I'm trying to get a reboot button.
that'll be huge.
Working. I know it's got some problems. I'm trying to work through that. That's also on our list. So
Yeah, we got a lot of plans to improve this stuff. So, all right, so let's just open up Darkroom again, and I can answer some questions while we're going. So everything's captioned here. Um, Most tutorials do not use captions. Yeah, so some people just don't use captions. Um, to get like the style more responsive. And that's what's really interesting. So like one thing I was told is when you use Deep Buru to use like caption rotation and can you mute there, Diffuse Master?
yeah,
You're
is that me?
pinging a
Sorry.
lot. Yeah,
Yeah, I had someone asking me some questions here. Let me mute myself. I apologize.
no problem. So you will see like people not using captions. You will see with Deep Buru, they say like, oh, use clip skip, use caption shuffling. And it's interesting because clip skip will actually like remove some prompts from or some captions sometimes while it's doing it. So it's like supposed to reduce the amount of bleed between prompts. And the bleed is kind of obvious. We've got that example of the bleed here, right? Where it's like, I did green eyes and the wall became green. She's got a green here. She's got green on her shirt. So that's prompt bleed when it comes out. And, captioning properly can really help with that. Some people are like, I don't caption at all. Some people are like, I like to handcraft every prompt. And I think that there's a happy medium. Me personally, I use Blip because honestly, I like larger data sets. I can't be asked to like go through and fix every single frickin' thing. Just ridiculous. So what I like to do is I like to have like a good amount of stuff done with Blip, and then I check it over, and then decide what I'm going to stay with. Let's get the tagger here. WD 1.4 tagger interrogates single or multiple images using various alternative models. So you can, with this extension, get your own interrogators. You can use different things like Blip or OpenClip, or not OpenClip, but different Blip models, different Deep Brew models for captioning. So very useful, and it's got a pretty good, it's like Caption Buddy for Stable Tuner. As we know, get a bad gateway, hit refresh, and it pops up again. One of those other little quirks. We're always working on those things too. All right, so we've got it here somewhere. Did it not show up? Oh, maybe it hadn't installed yet. WD 1.4 tagger. Where did it go? I actually haven't used this for a bit, so I hope it still works. It's supposed to have its own tab. The extensions are so tricky. Train? God damn it. Extras. No. It's like WD tagger. Says it's in there. Bummer. All right. Well, that's too bad, but we'll take a look and see why that one isn't working. Again, they all have their different way of loading into auto. It's sort of like not really like people coordinate differently. Some of them are really on top of staying on top of updates. Some of them are not. Some of them are working with older versions of auto. Some of them only the more recent ones. So it's really hectic to try to figure all that stuff out. But there's tagger things you can use on your computer. You can use like the WD tagger locally. You can use different cloud services. So there's a lot of ways to do it, to go through and do that, because all you need to do is get these like text files, right? But I'm not really concerned about. I think this is going to be good. So let's go through and get into Dreambooth, because that's what we're all here for, and it's already been an hour. So first thing we're going to do is create a model. So we're going to call this darkroom. Call it ON because I want to do an offset noise training. And we're just going to base it off of 1.5. Hit create model. Now this box is medium, I believe. Yes. So here's a funny thing. I've noticed with Dreambooth, it doesn't get over 10 gigs of RAM very often. And the VRAM. And the reason why is Auto 11 is very much made for consumer hardware. So it doesn't really push the VRAM too much. In fact, you'll see sometimes it just stays under 5, sometimes it's under 8, and you can see the like live usage of it. If you do push the VRAM too hard, it will break your box. And so you'll have to restart your session. You'll start getting out of memory errors. You start getting, yeah. The batches are something we're going to talk about as well. We'll talk about different things to keep the VRAM low. but it doesn't use that much. So in regards to saving money, when you're starting out, just use medium. Like, don't even bother with large. It's not going to make a significant difference. The vast majority of the difference in what you're doing will be done through the settings, and that will determine the speed. So don't worry about, oh, I need to use a large. Just learn as much as you can on medium. Don't spend the extra dollars on large if you don't need to. You need to get that discount, of course. So when you're ready, you've got good settings. You like know what you're doing, feel comfortable with it. Go for it. But it's just going to give you like a moderate speed up. It doesn't give you like a huge advantage to use large in this case, just because of how Dreambooth is set. So we're going to try to speed run this. So we're going to try to make one on medium as fast as possible. Yeah, I'm not gonna get rich off my models. I'm an artist, man, starving artist. I'm just gonna make it for the art, dude. That's what I'm training for. All right, so no, it's okay. If there was a reason to use the LG and it gave you guys a performance advantage, I would let you know. I'm not gonna like bullshit you guys on this, gals. Uh, you know, you'll understand the difference between the servers, and the extra VRAM is useful for like ControlNet stuff. It's useful for deforum stuff. But when you're doing this, honestly, you don't need an LG for training. It gives a little bit of speed up. But let's see how fast we can get it on MD. So with Lora, we are getting a smaller file because we want to do it fast. Loras vary from like what, like 8 megabytes to like 500 megabytes. So if you use Lora extended and this hover over everything, you'll get the little tooltip, very important. This will increase the quality and editability, but leads to bigger files. So that's what Lora extended does. We're not going to use that. I used that last night, and when this is training, we can go over what I did last night and see how it looks. I spent the extra hours, did like a 2-hour training session, and then was so tired that I logged off and accidentally closed off the server while a download was going. So we'll see how well those models downloaded, but we'll see how it goes. So training steps, 100 is good. We are going to do 120, and the reason why is we're going to do a few things that'll make it take a little bit longer. So we'll try, well, yeah, let's overtrain it. We're going to aim to overtrain. So we're going to overtrain here. Amount of time to pause. Now this is actually important. Weird, I know. You'd think like, oh, I don't want to pause between it. I just go, 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 go. Apparently this changes things. So people say that it can make a difference. Just keep in mind, if you are familiar with what this is, it's an absolutely hilarious story. I highly recommend it, reading it in AI art, because you'll see like how much of this goes on in Stable Diffusion. But let's just say that there is, and the reason why this has a difference is because of the scheduler. So these are different ways that the learning rate can change. And apparently the reason you have a warm-up is because of these pauses. It can actually make a difference with how that learning rate works. Very strange, I know. Again, we're working with like an alchemical thing here. It's not a science or engineering. It's very alchemical. A lot of things are not fully understood even by the best researchers. Okay, so we're going to leave that the same. Save model frequency. I have no idea why it needs rest, Christian. I have no idea. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Kier, actually, you bring up a good point. We will talk about this as well, but there's some stuff in the optimizer that we're going to go through. We're going to go through all of these and I will talk through them, but there is some stuff there that will potentially cause some numerical issues, some randomness, and so on. So yes, could be, and there's stuff we can talk about there. So we've got 120 steps. Save model frequency. Now, this is pretty important. If you're making a big file, you don't want to have you clog your box. The moment you run out of gigs, as you have, if many of you know, your box dies. You have to log in via invoke, clear the space. It just stops responding. Extremely not fun. So down here, we're going to make small files and we're going to save it quite frequently. Again, my data set is tiny, actually very tiny. 20 images. I was doing 157 images last night. It was like half that, but then I added the flipped images in. So this is going to be very frequent, but that'll help when we do our XY because we'll have more options and it will bring us closer to convergence. So we're going to try to converge it as close as possible. And the preview frequency, I'm going to keep to 5 so we can see quite frequently what's going on here. Okay, throw in your questions as I'm going through this because I'm going to blitz through. I know I want to make good use of your time and we've already, talked about all kinds of other stuff. So we need to get this going. Batch size. So important. You'd think if you want to do a fast one, you just increase the batch size as much as possible. Batch size is the amount of images that you're loading in at once into the VRAM that is processing them. And gradient accumulation steps is the, well, it's complicated. So gradients are in images and it's it is calculating and associating. I believe it's with the text encoder, but it's sort of like how it's interpreting the image. Think of it like that. When you load a bunch of images in the batch, it calculates the gradients across the batch. What does that mean? When you pull images out of this training process, it looks like all your training images are combined. So like think of batches as it's putting them all in a boiling pot, and the flavor that comes out of that is the flavor of everything combined. So this is really important when you have very few images. It can make your images look like a melted mess of just one image. It like basically boils it down to one image. And when I did batches last night, what I found was with my Loras that I made is because I was doing higher batches on LG to try to get it like a big one done fast, it actually reduced the variability of my model and made it overfit, which we'll talk about too. But because of the batching, it melted them all down. Like I did 20 images, I did 10 images, and it's like combining 10 images at once. So if you have a set of like 50, yes, okay, someone smarter than me is talking in the chat. I think gradient in this case is for the change in the loss function, gradient descent, and neural network training. Absolutely. Do I understand it? No. Do I agree? Sounds right. You have to go along with this stuff at some point. Unfortunately, I'm not an ML major. Some people are really, really smart at this stuff. I'm just an artist. So I think of it in terms of boiling pots and candle wax, and that's just how I
And
think about
food.
these things. And food, and film. So so yeah, batches will definitely make your stuff go faster. It calculates the steps differently as well. So if you have a higher batch, you need less steps, but it will do more at once. So just like be very careful with batch size. Again, if you go too high, you will brick your box as it will use too much VRAM. These settings as well, you have to be very careful with them as they can mess with your VRAM. So we're going to keep it. We only have like what, 20 images, 23 images. We have to keep the batch size low. Otherwise, we're going to lose a lot of the variability. Okay, Lora UNet. Now we recently updated Dreambooth. The learning rate here is very important, obviously. So this is like a new UI, and the default levels are actually the recommended levels. Before in Lora Dreambooth, it actually had some like kind of shitty levels for learning rate. So this is much better. You'll notice that the text encoder is way lower. This was used to be like this. It was the same. And so the text encoder learning rate would like zoom ahead. Again, the text encoders are not that great right now. This is tech that will vastly improve, but at the moment, you kind of keep this one really low. We want to keep things constant. Linear, cosine, you can try all these. Uh, Let me just say that they can be useful for when you're doing like multiple batches. So let's say, for example, you do a constant learning rate across and you get the vast majority done, and then you go back and you do like a cosine run or a linear run because of the curve it will create. So I won't get too into that, but just know that like linear starts high and then goes down from there and slows it down. The idea behind learning rates is lower learning rates will actually maybe capture more of the details. It'll capture the smaller stuff. It'll like think about if you're zooming around in your day in your car, you know, you don't have time to like look at shop windows, what's in a shop window when you're zooming by. All you see is a sign on the store. So same sort of idea with learning rate. If you go slower, you can pick up a lot of the smaller details, the intricacies. If you just have a very fast learning rate, you're not going to pick up a lot of the stuff. Okay, I've tried 10 here, I've tried 0 here. I haven't noticed much difference. We're going to leave it as is. Resolution, I believe we did 768. So we're going to try this. We are not going to apply a horizontal flip. Here we will do darkroom on style landscape photography masterpiece 1.8. Oh, I guess you'd need a better. I used to do photography 135 f millimeter something 135 f 70 millimeter. I don't know. Those don't really matter. Negative prompt will be blurry, pixelated, cropped watermark text. And I always change the seed. Not that I'm not down with 420, but 7652221. Just put one in there. So that's very important. Now, this data set does not. Sanity sample is like a different sample. So it can help. You get a different seed, a different sample. So then you have two that you can kind of compare.
And it doesn't contain your what you're trying to train on. It's right, like it's to like make sure that nothing's happening with the model, underlying model. Is that right?
No, it does.
Okay.
Let's read it. A prompt used to generate a baseline image that will be created with other samples to verify model fidelity. So you're kind of right, I guess. But what I've noticed is it will be when I'm trying to do styles, I am trying to affect the sanity sample prompt. So that's why I guess
Okay.
I guess I could take that out, right, and be like, now I have
Like
Alaskan
I've overridden the base model.
wilds
I've achieved what I'm
river
trying to achieve here.
tall
Maybe.
cedar trees. Yeah. Okay. Um, Now VAE, I used this last night. The way I did this is I went here, I made my own VAE file. I downloaded this diffusion pytorch model.bin. It has to be named exactly that. And the config.json. It was here. So this is the original VAE. They can also look like this. This did not work for me actually. So I used waifu diffusions 1 here. And then the VAE. Nope. Hold on. Where was it? Waifu. Maybe just this one. But you need this. config.json and default pytorch model.bin. I didn't have time to check out how to get the safe tensors one working. It just wasn't working. So I just did this and it worked. Because when I did the safe tensors and just popped it in there, it was like, where's your config.json file? And I was like, I don't know, man. Give me a break. But if you wanted to do that, you would just go like this. You know what? Sure, let's train it on a VAE. Who cares? Why not? Okay, we don't have concept lists. We don't have Discord. We don't have an API key. We're good. Okay, getting into advanced territory now. EMA does not work with Lora. You can use it with general. You don't need VAE. It gives slight improvements, especially with faces and eyes. Um, I actually shouldn't use waifu diffusion with my darkroom model. Why would I do that? Anyways, you can use it though, and it will very slightly improve things. So definitely recommend trying them and messing around with them if you're doing models based on humans. Okay, now we're going to get to the weird part. Oh my God. They added a new one this morning. Are you seeing this? I haven't even used this yet. This
Torch? Is it 2.0?
this just came up.
Huh.
Maybe
Yeah,
it's Torch
it's a brand
2.0.
new. It is a
Brand
brand
new
new build.
optimizer. Holy
I
crap.
don't know if we can run that on this one. We can test it.
I mean, probably we could, but
I don't
okay.
even know if I have Torch 2.0
I
installed.
don't know
Unless
if
I
it's Torch
installed it.
2.0. I have no idea what it is. All I knew about was Adam and Lion, and I was literally testing at 1 a.m. last night, and these were the two options. Yeah,
Hmm.
every freaking day, just stuff sneaks in. Honestly, guys, this is
Seriously.
why some stuff breaks, is because the updates keep sneaking in. We try to lock it down as much as possible so you guys have a stable box, because not every update that they put in works, and sometimes they break stuff. They try not to break
Bingo.
stuff, but if you go on the GitHub, it's kind of a mess. There's people arguing. There's like all kinds of stuff going on. People go on vacation, nothing happens. It's hilarious. So just keep that in mind. Watch for things changing, but in general, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so we have this new torch mode. The two modes I want to talk about are 8-bit Atom and Lion. So 8-bit Atom is a standard Dreambooth model, and it is what this learning rate is based on. I know, Christian, it changed. I don't know what happened. It was using maybe 16-bit Atom. I don't know what it was doing before. You need an optimizer now. So 8-bit Atom is a standard one, and if you look at advice on how to train online, generally they're talking about Atom. Lion is a new optimizer, like very new, that came from the machine learning space. It is extremely fast, like lightning fast. And if you want to use it, you got to lower your learning rate by like a factor of 10. So I'm going to try it by a factor of 50%. And we'll see what happens. But I'm not sure what's going to happen. So last time I did it, it was converging in like 3 to 5 epochs when I was using the same learning rate. And just so we are on the same page, an epoch is running through the entire training data set. So it goes through all the images. That's one epoch. All right, mixed precision. So if you're doing a checkpoint file, this would be half-sized, FP16, and this is based on accuracy. So there's like information out there about the different modes. There's BF16, there's FP16, there's FP32, which is no mixed precision. We're trying to do one fast, so we'll do FP16. And this is the other speed up, memory attention. Now, this is pretty controversial, and in the Dreambooth like scene, people talk about this. I haven't seen it really written about on blogs or anything like that, but Xformers is weird. So Xformers gives a vast speed up, but it also brings in a lot of unpredictability. And we were talking about like different things like maybe it's the card's heat. That could be Xformers. Is where a lot of the extra limb, extra finger stuff comes from. It causes mutations, it causes inaccuracies, and it's a lot faster. So that's something to keep in mind when you're doing this. You don't need to use Xformers on our box. And you can actually run this full precision, no Xformers, and it's still going to be super fast. So Why don't we try that actually and just see how fast? Because Lion is so fast anyways that I fear like it's going to be like too fast if I use Xformers in FP16.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean you're already on the speed, you're already speeding down the highway. You might as well have some control.
Yep. Offset noise is a new one. So uh, this is, you've probably seen some mention of this in like Illuminati diffusion, one of the new models out there. Learns brightness and contrast with greater detail during training. Gives a lot more control over light. The recommended setting for this is zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.5. And what does the slider go up to? 1. So just keep that in mind. Keep it very low if you're going to use it. And also note that this will make your training take longer. So actually, let's do this. Let's see. It'll make it take a little bit longer. It doesn't like make it take that much longer, but it has to do extra training on the light as well. So that makes the training take longer. All right, I'm not going to focus on these. Honestly, don't know too much about them except for clip skip, which is what supposedly reduces leakage between prompts, but we're not using Deep Buru, so we're not going to use that. So we're just going to leave those as is. Okay, we've got the settings piece down. Fabulous. Let's go to our concept. So we're going to do one concept. It's going to be here. Let me just double check. I might need to use input, I believe. Yeah, oh, it was train. Okay, good thing I checked. /train. We're not using classification images. There's lots of talk about this. Generally, I do style training. I do not have class images. If you're doing a person, can be useful to have class images. SE Courses did a great video on it, which you can look at, where he tried all different levels of class images. You can bake your own class images. You can create your own in this. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so our darkroom is going to be our instance token. So this is a unique token that you want to use. Yeah, Christian, like I can't answer that. Look at the video because it depends on how many images you have. It depends on what level you have. Like too many class images, there's talk about like, does that dilute the model? Like it's a very long, strange thing that I just honestly don't use them very much. So
Yeah,
go down that
for a
rabbit
person,
hole. Yeah.
sometimes I use zero. I
Yeah.
don't even use class images, and I get good results with that.
It's totally something where it's up to your creativity and testing. And that's the other thing I want to mention, okay? You're talking about like, oh, you're not selling the large servers on this. Honestly, I want all of you to be successful with this, and it takes a while to get this to work. And it's frustrating, and it breaks, and the models don't turn out how you want. And you just need that experimental mindset. You need to be like totally willing to test stuff, understand that like there's a bit of money that comes with like just figuring things out, and it's not going to be put pictures in, get perfect model out. It is very much a journey. So I want all of you to be successful in that. I'm trying to do the best to go over all of this stuff, but just know even with the best tutorials, the best information, it's still unpredictable. And we're doing Lion. Like we don't even know what we're going to get, honestly, in this. So class token, again, keep it very simple. We are doing a style, so we're just putting style in there. You could do person, you could do dog, etc. Keeping it very, very simple. Instance prompt, we are going to do dark room style. Class prompt, we are going to do photographic or photograph. And we don't need a classification. And this, I'm not using class images. This doesn't matter, honestly. But we do have the class token, right? It's a style. Okay, sample image prompt. Start off with darkroom style. We did landscape photography before, so we will do city street in Munich, 70s automobiles. Potholes. Street signs. Neon. And award-winning. Hey, award-winning art book, photography, Nikon, film, Fuji, film 400. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Sample negative prompt, blurry, pixelated, render, Octane, Unreal, plastic, 3D, watermark, text. Okay, 0 class images. We will do 2 additional samples. Sample seed. We don't want -1 because that'll be random, so we'll do 477777. So there's our concept. You might get this issue when you hit train and it says like, why don't you fill out a concept? And you've already done that. Very annoying. Just like go through and make sure that everything is like, if you don't have it, you've deleted everything. There's no spaces at the end, that your dataset directory is correct, because that error says, why don't you enter a concept, can mean your dataset directory is incorrect, or you have a space somewhere, or that one of these fields is wrong. So just keep that in mind. Saving. Okay, so we're going to do darkroom on. Now, if you're doing a Lora and you put in any of these check marks, you're going to get a CKPT file that will be 4 gigs. If you do it when saving, you're going to get a lot of these. So we do not want those. Lora rank. This is very important. The text encoder rank, I believe it is the same as in Koya. They call it dim. And what they recommend is 128. You will see a lot of them are 8. A lot of them are 128. And you get good results with those. I tried some 200s last night. We'll look at that. This will increase the size of the Lora. So if you do 200, you're going to get like a 400 meg. 200 extended was like a 450 meg. Okay, so let me just see what's going on in the chat. Wildly different settings, outside of memory errors. 15 to 2000. Yes, Tokyo. Glad we have some people. Oh, class images. Yep. Mainly been using. But yeah, I'm glad people are trying different things. And please, if you have something that works, throw it in the chat because we want to hear it. Again, this is all experimental. We're all learning. On the UNet rank, similar thing. Higher values, better, but larger. So you notice this one goes up to 128. Oh, yeah, so this is the dim. So we're going to do that at 8. And the text encoder rank will go up. So we're actually going to do this a bit higher. We'll do, like, let's say 128. Okay. Lora weight and text weight, percentage of Lora weights that are applied to the UNet. I do not understand what these are yet. So we got a lot to do. Yes, I did change the learning rate. It is half the learning rate that I would use for Atom, which is reach. So we're going to need to pay attention to this training because it can train so fast that we'll hit convergence and zoom past it if I'm not paying attention. Okay, so we've got everything.
Really quick, how big, if you were to save every, what, 1, 2, 3 epics, you say this trains in like 10 epics, how big are those files? Because if you got, maybe 5 or 10 LoRa files that are just a couple megabytes, I mean, you could technically produce a file, a checkpoint. I don't want to say checkpoint, but you could produce an output every epic and choose the best one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we did a few things. So we're not using extended. That'll push it up like 300 plus. We don't have many images, so the epics are going to zoom by pretty fast. Our learning rate is quite low, so we're going to find out what the balance is between our learning rate and Lion and try to find convergence, right? FP16 Xformers, again, going pretty fast. Now, in regards to size, most of that is determined A, by extended, and B, by your Lora ranks here. So 8 and 128, pretty low. I'm guessing it's going to be at most 50 megabytes, if not lower. If you do max these out, it will go to 400, 500. So hoping it's pretty small. We're going to have 12 models when it's done. That's the plan. Okay, so you want those safe tensor files. You need them for automatic. You cannot use the PT files right now. Always click Lora waits for extra networks. Always saving when during training. Make sure we get those 12 in there. Yes, we'll get it when it completes. Don't care about when it's canceled. Actually, yes. Let's generate it when it's canceled because
That
it's.
way, if you see something good, you can hurry and cancel
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. I can stop it before it overtrains. Okay, let's see if we get any errors. Oh, wait, I will save. See, we got that configure concepts thing. So let's just make sure darkroom train mount slash private. That is good. This should be fine. Darkroom style photograph classification image. Just hit all of these from template file and we should be good. Okay, preparing data set, pre-processing images. Now there are some issues with the UI. Let's talk about that diffuse master because as you know, when a box is going along, it can break. So the progress bar can break, but it will still keep training. If you get an out of memory error, your box is dead. What I've found is do not attempt a training after you get an out of memory error. Just reset your box. Otherwise, you'll get like weird things like the training will switch from, and again, this is today, could be different. This was yesterday at 1 a.m. Could be different now. We don't know. But we're trying to keep on top of these things, right? We've got a new optimizer in there. So if you see this start to like switch and it's going like steps, and then it's switching to like pre-processing images, steps, pre-processing images, that means you're disconnected and you'll have to restart. Unfortunately, there's no way around that. The most important thing is to follow along on your logs here. So zoom past what you've got and you can see, okay, we're pre-processing the images now, total progress. Looks like there's no problems
That's
getting
another
started.
thing
This
on
is
our
the
list.
pre-process.
We're working on tailing this file out to a console window below, where you can just click like show console and then you can see that file. That is something we're working on as well. So you don't have to do that silly log thing and refresh, scroll to the bottom. We know that's a pain.
Yeah, and getting like the console output piped in and a reboot button is just going to save so many headaches. I can't wait.
Right,
Can't wait for
exactly.
that.
Well, the other thing too is when you reset your box, you clear out your model. So you have to recreate your model, remember all your directory paths, all the settings you played with, they all don't persist. Unless you log in through the web UI user and go grab it and send it to your storage, then you're good. So I would recommend that. It's just a little bit of work to do that, unfortunately. Again, that's why, it's probably not a bad idea to have this done in your medium boxes so you're not throwing change down the window. And yeah, we're working on it. We want this to be a good experience. We know, yeah, we know it's janky and we have to kind of build workarounds to make it not so janky.
Yeah.
But it's a lot.
Yeah. I'll just answer some quick questions. So, learning rate is the same. The saving, we are going to save this stuff. We don't need to save diffusion weights when doing Lora, just because it's going to save it automatically, the models that we have every few epochs. And we're not like going to retrain it from scratch. You'll kind of see what the end result looks like. Difference between instant token and class token. So instance token is the actual piece in the model that's being called. So when we write darkroom in the prompt, it's going to reference this Lora. and will help, like if we want to make this more prevalent, we would use darkroom. The class token is more about its position within the text encoder's like latent space. Latent is the like what the model considers to be like the area. Think of like a 3D explosion of different dots. So there's all these different dots on an XYZ axis all over the place. And the class token is saying, hey, it's this specific section of the model of all these different places it could be in this noise and this diffusion. It's this specific section, which is a style, which means it's going to have a certain way of interpreting it, or it's a person, or it's a dog, etc. Right? You get the idea. So we're saying not only is it a style, it's a photograph, and if we want to instance prompt it in, we're going to say darkroom style. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, I'm not an expert on this by any means, but just trying to do this. Okay, so would you make a model more exact by writing, for instance, face instead of person if you're using photos of a face? I would say that that
Probably.
is like an area where you can try different things. What would you say? You've done more face training than I.
Yeah, I use like close up, portrait, studio, face, and I get some good ones
In the
because then
prompt. In the prompt? He's talking
no, when I oh sorry, yeah, yeah, in the prompt.
when he's
Um
talking about instance tokens and class tokens. So for the instance, would
Class
use
tokens, yeah, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. So yeah, for the class tokens, you'd want to say instead of like photo of a man, you would say close up portrait of a man. And then you would generate class images based off of,
that wouldn't be the
close up
class
portrait of a
token
man.
though. That would be the class prompt. So the class token could be face. If you think of person,
Oh,
like what, think about what it's going to generate. If you just sat in front of a prompt and put in person, what are you going to get? You're going to get far away, you're going to get close up, you're going to get sitting down, you're going to get all kinds of different stuff. If you put face, it's going to be more accurate. So if you only want to get faces out of your model, then you would use face. But keep in mind, when you go to use your model, you're not going to be getting people sitting down. And if you try to do that, it's not going to work, right? So this is where it's really important. And if you remember in that XY that I had, you could see some of them I had changed the instance prompt and token and the class prompt and token, and it just like my style didn't show up. And it's the same thing. If you want flexibility, go for the more vague class token. That's why my class token is just style. I'm trying to keep it as vague as possible, and then I have the specific prompt to get it. And that's because I want that flexibility. But if you're just making faces, maybe you just want to make faces. Then you don't need that flexibility, and you can put that face prompt in there. So it's going along. Now, you'll notice it's got an hour actually on it, so I think that's a result of the offset noise. Might be taking a little bit longer, but look at this. Like this is already got film grain on it. It's got weird film grain, but it's got the scan from the book. Like the paper texture is already in there, and it's Epoch 12. Like this is zooming along.
that's crazy.
Does it look great? No. And look, we've even got the scan errors that I had from scanning it in the book are already in there, and it's Epoch 12. Like, this is nuts how fast it goes. Um, the graphs, this is something I don't understand very well. I need to learn it, like understanding the loss average and the learning rate and all that. I really want to understand that. Do the tokens not only apply if you use file words from the prompts? So if you're using file words for the prompts, which is what it says when you hover over these things, right? When using file words, that would mean it's a specific way of captioning. So if you go into darkroom, train, here, info, that would mean that your caption is in the text. And there's some captioning systems that do that. So I don't have that. I just have Nikon image. So if I went in here and I did my instance token, maybe I'd do Nikon image because I want to do that. But no, I want to do darkroom. I don't want to do Nikon image. So I'm just putting darkroom instead because, maybe I'm going to put different things in here. This is actually with Lion. I should have lowered the epochs that it's going to do this, because now we're going to overtrain. But let's see what we get on this sample run here. We're on 15, so it's only generated samples 3 times. We got
Hey,
one. Yeah,
I've been wanting to test this. So you know how you're saying that you're only using like 5 gigs of your VRAM or whatever?
yeah.
So I just logged into the box you're using, and you're using 100% of that card. So
Oh,
I'm thinking that it's just reporting, like maybe I don't know. I'm not quite sure what it's doing, but you're crunching that card. So your VRAM needs to hold the model into it needs to hold the model. So you're going to take your 16 gigs, you're going to bring it down to 12 because it's going to use 4 gigs for the model, and then the rest is going to be allocated to your training. I'd love to do this on a large and see if it's using 100%, but you are at 100%, well, 98%.
I I think we're overfitting already.
Oh,
Look at this.
geez.
This is one seed. Look at the difference between those two samples. Look at the quality of the paper and this. Like, you see this pattern coming through. This is showing me that it could be overfitting already. And then if you go here, what was our negative prompt? Blurry. So we'll do it for epoch 20, and then we'll probably cancel it, and then we'll slow that learning rate down, and then do more frequent previews and try it again. But you see, like, I vastly overestimated how much I was going to need. This is step 778, right? It's like Lion is so fast. Now, I've heard different ways of thinking about this. So one way I've heard is you can use Lion, get convergence as fast as possible. Like, if you know how to get Lion to hit convergence, then you're like in the money. Like, you're training faster than everyone else. So you use Lion, and then when you get close to convergence, you put Atom at a lower learning rate, like maybe what we have right now even, and then you get those extra details because you've been zooming along, getting the broad details locked in, and then once you get to like kind of that place, like imagine that place within that diffused number of points in that XYZ, you're like, okay, I'm in the neighborhood. Then you slow down, and then you like find out, okay, it's not this shop, it's not that shop. You're like really nailing it in. And yes, once again, compensating for my lack of machine learning, but with metaphors. Hope you all appreciate that. Okay, if I'm going after a photographer's specific style, is there any reason to mess with how many photos I'm using and epochs? Absolutely. Whoa, what the heck is this? We got love this. That's awesome. Okay, going after a photographer's specific style. So um, you definitely want to. Okay, that's just weird though. Like, this is not in my training set at all. Oh no, there's some people. What do we got here? Like, there's some nuns in a cave.
Mhm.
I don't even know why. Um, yeah, you definitely want to. Think about composition, Rob. Like, you're capturing not only like the film that they're using and the aesthetic, but you're also capturing how they frame a photo. What objects are they putting in the frame? Um, yeah, you're putting that all in there. I did answer the tokens not only applying if you use
Oh,
file words. Um,
perfect.
yeah, the
I
file
missed it.
words is a very specific way of captioning where it's like actually the text in the file name. So yeah. So yeah, there's lots of reasons to use more photos. What you want to do is you want to get like a wide variety. Here you can see I actually have two of the same. Oh no, they're from different pages. Okay. Oh no, it's flipped. Oh, so I had flipped in here. Okay. Yeah. I flipped it. All right. All right. Yeah. So flipping gives a slight variety. I would say it's more useful for training on people than it is for like landscapes. Like, this is not going to make a difference. The image is just so weird already, right? So it doesn't really matter. Um, but that was actually interesting because that was the little anomaly we saw in the last sample. Let me pull that up again. Here, got this like light leak stuff. And if we go into our samples, let's do that actually because We want to see all of our samples. So I will log out. Now, this is where the models are held. So in here we go models and Dreambooth. And there's our samples. So undertrained, very clear undertraining. Looks undertrained. This could be convergence even. This is the light leak coming through here. And this is starting to look overtrained. That's overtrained. Like look at that. Yeah. Light leak. And then this is just like, what's going on here? I don't know. But it looks like we might be overtraining because this looks like something more base model-ish. It's hard to say. Like now look at this. We're getting these like darker ones. Yeah, especially with poses, Tokyo. Like, if you have people with like their, chin resting on their hand or something, you can flip it, get different sides of the face and stuff. It can be useful for that. Yeah, this is just getting washed out and shitty now. We'll do one more set of epochs and then look at them. You save your model every 10 steps with line, and then you load every 10 epochs, and then you load that source checkpoint in Dreambooth and create a new model to train on Atom. No. So, Christian, what I was talking about with continuing it is you actually will just keep the Lora, which I'll show you when I cancel this. You keep the Lora and then you continue the training with a different optimizer. So this can be really useful if you like feel like you're close to convergence. You can either cancel the training or wait till it stops, and then you can load a previous checkpoint under Lora or snapshot, right? And then you can continue from there and use different settings to really dial it in. And this is all about finding that perfect spot, that perfect moment of convergence. And it gets really weird. Like sometimes it's just like there's like a difference of 100 steps, and it just shows like how vastly different getting that bullseye can be. Because sometimes it just clicks on models, and it really depends on settings. So I've tried this a few times where I did really higher learning rates and then lowered it to get the details. It worked really well. And that was with Atom. So that's a technique I learned with Atom, whereas you do a higher learning rate, lower it a second time pass for the details. Worked pretty well. This is where like linear and cosine even can help with that. So you can experiment with using those. I would suggest using them on your second pass because you want to get like at least close to the neighborhood first. And you can really dial it in and only do like 10 epochs the next time. And do like much more frequent snapshot saving and so on. So you're really just getting close to that exact spot because that's what it's all about. You'll see when it overtrains, it starts to get obvious and you start to see what you're looking for in the training. When you start paying attention to it, you start to learn, okay, this is undertrained, this is overtrained. There's actually a good example. I'll see if I can find it. This is where I learned Nitro Sock Training Booth Guide. Yeah, this is where I learned to see the difference. This is really useful, right? So you've got the input. This is like a balanced. Undertrained, you can see the details not quite there, right? It looks like you're using a low amount of steps. And then overtrained, you see those artifacts really come in strong. And this is like a crazy amount of artifacts, right? This is way overtrained, but it shows you that you're even just looking for a little bit. That's where like the tattoos were coming in, the little things were starting to come in, and that showed us that it was overtrained. Pop this in here. Okay, let's see what samples we got. What is that? Venus? I don't even know. Okay, this is gone. We're gone. We're dead. Like this is over. Let's cancel it. When you get something that's just like that, it's like, nope. And this, look, I don't even know. That just looks wrong to me. This looks like the up down up down up down. It looks like it's just like struggling, like a sputtering car or something like that. Who knows? Cool. And thanks everyone for like hanging out here. I know it's like we are approaching the 2 hour mark. Again, people were like, "You expect me to watch a 2 hour video on Deforum?" Well, now we're expecting you to watch a 2 hour video on Dreambooth. I know it's a lot of information. So this will be recorded and available for everyone in the Creators Club. I'm going to make like a Creators Club library section so you'll be able to access this anytime. And yes, Christian, great point. So config scale does, and this is where the text encoder training comes in. You have people where they're like, oh, my model only works good on config 2 or 3 for some reason. And the reason why is because they vastly overtrained it. Likewise, if you have an undertrained model, you have to turn the config up a lot more. And that's because of that text encoder training piece of it. So good point there, Christian. Thank you. All right, let's see. Here's all our Loras, right? So we've got 440 steps. These are the like checkpoints. So if we go here, we can see all of those, right? And that means we can retrain based on some of these. So if we get a good one, again, I vastly underestimated how fast Lion was going to go again. So there's some room to adjust things there. And if we go to this and go to models and go to Lora, no, Lora, there we go. So there's our safe tensors files.
Yeah, make sure to download these in case your box
Oh yeah.
fails.
Yeah, get
Yeah.
these as soon as possible because anything in the web UI section dies when you flip your to a new session. Not if you spin up a new session, when you kill your session. Okay, so 45 megs, that's kind of what I was aiming for, right? I said just under 50. We were under 50, so that looks good. Okay, so I think what we should do here, um, well, let's I guess pop them in and see what we get. So I will 7-zip. And we will log out and go to Lora here. Now this is another one that I made at 2200 steps. We didn't get that far with our training because Lion just zoomed through it so fast. So these are pretty small, so I'm just going to drag and drop them, honestly. Sorry, we're going to wait. If you have larger ones, use Google Drive and then use the gdown -- fuzzy command to upload them because it'll be a lot faster than doing this. So if I have anything that's like a gig or larger, I'm going to use the gdown fuzzy method to get them up there. And then we can do an XY. Actually, let's just do a quick XY on the stuff I was doing last night. So we'll just take this one. Oh, actually, that's kind of a crappy one because it says photorealistic. So again, we're diving into Civitai. Sorry, folks. I know this is... Let's do the RPG one. This is kind of photographic too. Just want to grab like a good prompt. I mean, I'm okay at prompting, admittedly. Oh, there was a good one. Hold on, everything. I think it was this one was good. Yeah, I really liked this example. I mean, this is just like reading it's like fiction. Look at this, a digital illustration of a mysterious and enigmatic, I'm using the emphasis, sorcerer standing on the edge of a glowing portal, her eyes fixed on a distant horizon. So this is just like a really fun one, and it actually ended up like really good. I was super impressed. I did not think this was going to go that well, but it did. So flesh pile, I'm like, oh my god. So we'll do deliberate here. Oh, but this is for... Oh, no. We're going to do this for the other one. So this will be fine. This is what I trained last night. I will actually have to use Google Drive for these. So hang on a second. I believe I've got them there. Yeah, okay. So we will use shell. Use this Google command to get them in. And yeah, if anyone has any questions or anything like that, I need to open this up. Just pop them in because this will just take a second to get these going. Maybe we don't even have to. I know it's going over 2 hours now. I mean, this was like a larger one that I made last night, so maybe we don't. Let's just look at the one we've been training actually, versus doing a whole new XY and downloading all of those. We've already got these ones in soon. I guess we might as well since it's waiting. So that was 1060. Get link. Any questions or anything I'm missing there? I'm not paying attention to the chat at the moment.
Nope, pretty quiet.
Okay, cool. Did I bore everyone to death? It's like,
No, this is the hard part. This is the long part. Go grab a soda. Go grab a drink if you guys want to.
yeah, bio break.
Yeah,
It's been so
feel
long.
free.
This.
Manderso, I think I'm saying that right. Check your email for Creators Club documentation. We send that to everybody when they sign up. It has the commands in there. Talks about gdown, aria, and what's the other one? wget. Those are the three that are available for downloading. And it's pretty easy. You just navigate in file browser where you want to go, and then you'll click those two bracket icon. It'll open up a little shell down there, and you just type in your command and paste the URL, and it'll download. It can take up to 5 or 10 minutes. It just kind of depends on, obviously the server that's sending you the file. But yeah, that's how you do it.
Yeah, and you can see these ones are actually pretty big. The ones that I'm doing now, you see I'm still downloading these darkroom ones or uploading them,
Uploading.
but
Yeah.
these are like 500 megs and they're going over like instantly. What
Yeah,
size
each
it is?
server
Yeah,
has a
500.
5 gigabit connection, so it should be pretty fast. You're only going to be limited by your own uploading capabilities, and most consumer internet services kind of have slow uploads, unfortunately. There's just really no way around it.
So digital illustration in. This is where I'm going to put in my prompt.
We've given them too much information. Tokyo Zeppelin, his brain is leaking out of his ears.
Yeah, there's just too much there. It's like it's crazy. Okay,
He was just
so
asking the question on the difference between instance token and instance prompt.
yeah, so instance token is a unique code that you use. So for example, when I am here, I'm doing digital illustration in, and I'm going to put in the this one, Quentin Hoover 1060. Oh, where did it go? 1060. Get in there.
Do you have too many? You might be over. Yeah, you're over
Oh,
150.
overprone. Okay, well, we don't need the overall effect. Oh my gosh. Still.
Yeah.
125. Okay.
Oh, there you go. It was
Now let's
counting.
try. Yeah, this is the amount of gosh, what is it called? Those
Yeah,
tokens.
the
Yeah, the
token limit.
tokens limit. Yeah, so still. Oh no, there it is. Showed up. So Q Hoover in this section, Quentin Hoover, is the token, and the token prompt is Quentin Hoover or Q Hoover style, right? So it's inferring like what the overall bit. There's the unique part, which is the instance token. This is calling the token Lora Q Hoover 1060 strength 1. And then there's the prompt, right? So we've got digital illustration in Q Hoover style. And again, you don't want to get too specific on this, then it'll be harder for people to call it. So try to keep it as vague as possible. So let's generate an image here and just see what it looks like. Um, Not bad. All right. Undertrained, but it looks okay. So if we go in here and we look at the Lora, I'll just show you something kind of neat. If we go to Q Hoover 60 and hover over the name, replace preview, we'll just pull that image that we just put in there, and that's how you get pretty pictures on your Loras.
Oh, I didn't even know that. That's
I know, I
cool.
found that the other night when I was going through. I was like, oh my gosh, finally, I can be the cool kid with the cool looking Loras.
Seriously. Did you catch Tokyo Zeppelin's follow-up question
No, I've been.
on the instance token? So they understand the instance token, but then what's the use for the instance prompt in the whole learning thing?
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about. It's like think of the instance token as a specific spot. Meet me on the corner of 14th and Broad. And the instance prompt is like more the neighborhood, or you'd be like, it's kind of close to the Starbucks, right? Like you're like getting closer to it where you're saying like Q Hoover is the instance token. It's like this exact point. And then the instance prompt is like Q Hoover style. It's saying like, okay, there's actually like a style Q Hoover. It's not just this like individual thing. Because if I just say Q Hoover, it doesn't know what that is. Could be a car, could be a teddy bear, could be a sandwich. But if I say Q Hoover style, then it's like, oh, there's a style of a thing. What? Tokyo Zeppelin? No? Yeah, that's the class. You're getting class and instance mixed up. Okay, you got it. You said no, you scared me for a minute. I was like, wait, what did I do wrong? Um,
I
but yeah, Rob's asking for a favor.
don't know, Rob.
Show the Dreambooth settings so I can screen grab.
Oh, screen grab.
Yep. Okay. Here, I'll just do it right now. By the way, I love Green Shot. It's amazing. Green Shot
Yeah,
is
throw
great.
that. Obviously save them, and then we can. Yeah, we can put. I was just talking with the team off camera here, I guess, off
Mhm.
audio here. And yeah, we want to try and build a little page that just kind of curates everything we talked about, summarize some of the key points, allow people to, it's like if you want to learn about this, this is where the timer starts in the video, and then, obviously
Right.
link the video. So we're gonna see if we can pull that together. I think that'd be really helpful for these 3 hour, town hall video like things. And obviously, it'll be a great resource for you guys, and we'll make it exclusive to Creators Club for at least a couple weeks. We may open it up to other people just so they can kind of get a taste of what we're doing in here. Again, because this is kind of the final goal. We want everybody in a Creators Club getting all
Well,
this support,
on this stuff like Dreambooth, like we don't have Dreambooth available to people
That's the
outside of
thing.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
might as well
exactly.
just
So it doesn't
this will
really
just
make
be
sense.
this will be Creators Club stuff. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
I didn't do any generating or testing, so your mileage may vary, or I don't use those at all. So you can use it to generate sample images of different points and stuff like that if you want. Okay, so let's get the XY going. So we've got this one. Now what you do with the XY is you go down to script, you go XYZ plot. Okay, you need to enable the script. It's good. What we want to do is prompt S/R, which is search and replace. Prompt SYR. And so the first thing we're going to do is the steps, right? So we've got 1060. So I'm just going to put num in there, num, and then I put 1060. And I can go to my list, and I want 2120, 3180, 4240, 5300, 6360, 7420. I don't know if 7420 is going to work because that might be the one that got cut off by the download. I don't know if any of these are going to work. We're going to find out. And then the second one, we're going to do strength. And we're going to do 0 0.1, 0 0.2, 0 0.3, 0 0.4, 0 0.5, 0 0.6, 0 0.7.
Hey, Revolved, I'll be right back.
Sure. And 1. Make sure you don't have your batch size up when you do this, because that can make you make a whole bunch of XY plots, which can be very confusing. And we're going to do 2M Keras, 512, 512, 7, one of them, and that should be good to go. Fingers crossed. Let's do this. Okay, looks like it's working. So now it's going to go through all of the models that I've created with different points. This is, again, a very slow atom, low learning rate, long training with maxed out Lora settings. So I tried to do the hardest Lora I could figure out to see what the difference is like. I haven't even seen these yet, so I haven't even pulled them in. That first image was the first one I've seen. So we're going to find out what happens, what it looks like, and then we'll get to our darkroom one and check it out. Can you share a screenshot of the settings for the script? Yes. So again, it's search and replace, right? So the search and replace is replacing the steps of the model and the strength of the Lora. This prompt is pretty crazy. I don't know if it was the best one to choose, but it's going to make for a fun, pretty looking graph, that's for sure. You could do a Z type if you wanted. I just want to keep it simple and not go too crazy on it. But you can see we're already getting some wild variations. What up, Lynn? Good to see you in here. Lynn, have you done any trainings? Because if you, I want to try your models if you have, because I'm sure they're incredible. Leonora, also want to see what you make. Your waifu TikToks are very fun. Yeah, I don't remember how the Z type shows up, Christian. I don't remember. Is it using the same seed? Yes. Z type. Separates in different tables. Ah, right. Yeah, so you could put like 4 seeds in there. Z type. Yeah, well, we've got 5 minutes. So what was the other thing? I guess I can spin up another box. We can mess around a bit. Let me show you a few things. Oh, actually, I do want to show something. And if anyone wants to come up and chat, by all means, feel free. Hey, thanks, Rob. Appreciate that. All right, I'm going to show you guys a little something we're working on in the background. Yeah, documentation. So I've been working on these. We've got talks about batch size, gradient accumulation, class images, learning rate with different examples. So there's a lot of stuff in here. We're just going to keep adding to it as time goes on. You can see we've got a bunch of different things that I've talked about so far. Going with like pictures. Yeah. So, if you have any suggestions for docs, you have anything, I'm putting those together. Let me know. You guys will get the early access to it while it's still being made.
Yeah, Tokyo's like, What a novel idea.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, but
yes, we
in
know
this
you guys.
space,
It's just, it's
yeah,
so
in
much
this
work.
space, it's like changing all the time. What
Yeah.
maybe we can like get this out to Creators Club like now. Is it like
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're still working on it, but I don't want to like have anyone wasting time on this stuff. And I think our Creators Club definitely should get a start on it. It's definitely incomplete. Like there's a lot in here, but also a lot missing. But if you would help us like fill this out, it would be greatly appreciated. Um,
Seriously, yeah, I can actually give access to anybody to go in and put things inside of this inside this site. So it's learn.rundiffusion.com and it's up right now. So yeah, Rob, we would love help. This is like the thing is I could spend, 4 hours writing documentation, or I could spend 4 hours, fixing a bug or creating a feature. You know what I mean? So I kind of tend to gravitate towards that way. And poor Revolved here, he's in support, helping people. He's our research and dev guy, like sorry, research guy. So he's learning and trying to figure out all the fun stuff we can do on the platform. So he's pretty tapped out. But yeah, it's that's why this stuff's kind of taken some time.
yeah. Um, Other things I wanted to talk about. Okay, so while we're waiting for this, Burmy.net, fantastic for cropping
Oh yeah.
images. It will autofocus while you're going through and try to get the best part. So very, very useful. I have a better tool. This is free. It's called IrfanView. So I'm making a black and white ink model with like some images like, let me just pull one up. Oh, actually, I'll just pull this up. So this is like a hoodie model that I did where I like generated some black and white images and I'm like making that. So I kind of wanted to get a model that could like pull this stuff regularly because I actually found it very difficult to get like a black and white ink style. So I got a bunch of source images from like old sci-fi books, magazines, RPGs, manga, tattoos, like all kinds of stuff. And if you go to batch conversion in here, actually, ChatGPT told me about this program because I was like, there has to be a way to like increase the canvas size of an image. And there was like, I was struggling. But when I went in and looked
So
at
funny.
this, like, it's fantastic. So if you go in options, like I've got output format, batch conversion, you can name it and then the numbers will be what it's numbered, right? If you go into advanced here, you get all these options. So this set new size and set long side to 768. If you want it, you could make it square. You can resize it. I was doing this, so I had a maximum 768, but I had different aspect ratios. And then you can increase the canvas size. So it would change it to 768 on the long side, but then change the canvas to be 768 by 768. So you would
Hmm.
get, let me show you an example. Stuff where it's long but comes through, right? Like you can see here, there was an image, but now it's square. This wasn't cropped, the image just came like that. So it increases the size of the canvas when it can't meet it. I may not use those images. I'm just like, that's kind of prepping stuff. All right, disclaimer. So you can also change like contrast. So this was really useful when I had like old scans that had lots of like artifacts and stuff wrong with them. I could change the contrast, brighten them, lower them, convert to grayscale, change to black and white or black grayscale. So there's a lot of options on IrfanView. It's free, highly recommended, great little tool. And yes, Rob, I got rid of Creators Club, Creative Cloud. I finally pulled the plug on that because I was so tired of it and paying for it. And every time I'd quit, they'd give me more free hours or months. Finally got rid of it and used Affinity, but I was trying to ask ChatGPT how I could do it in Infinity, and it was giving me like all these like weird, and I was just like, nope, like forget it. Oh, look at that, 0 seconds. We are done. And IrfanView is just like free, open source, super easy. what is it, like IRF and view, and it did everything I needed. So yeah, you can do more complex stuff, but this is just like, yeah, dumb and whoops, not that. Dumb and great, the way I like it. No, give me the weird, and it's got a stupid cat icon, which is hilarious. Okay, um, let's let our XY load. Here we go.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge image. Yeah, keep that in mind that these images, I mean, they can get up to 50 to 100 megabytes with, yeah, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I can't even like load it like this
Yeah, it
without
needs to be
popping in here.
downloaded.
Yep.
Yeah.
Clip to crop. Post the link, Rob. Would love to see that. What did I miss? Terminator. All right, cool. So let's open this up and take a look at what we got. So again, this is strength num, so it's not even using any models, right? So this is base, no, it isn't base model. It's using the model, looks like it. Yes, it is using the model. So here we have strength 0.1. I don't expect to see much. We're really looking for when the style comes through, and you can see the style coming through here, right? So this is undertrained. This is no Lora, same image across because it's just using num. So there's no Lora. Now here you see when we apply the Lora, it actually looks worse. Like this is, God, awful. So the
Sheesh.
undertrained Lora looks worse. But as we get up, we can start to see the detailing coming through, right? Like the deliberate's got the dress here, but here you can see there's like some of that offset noise coloration is coming through, right? You've got like different contrast. Here it's flat. Here you're getting that like mid-journey-ish, let's say, look. Now we've got some wings coming through here. Very cool. Some of the flavor from the Lora. Face still looks awful. Looks like trash, right? And now we're starting to get the close-ups because the image set that I used had lots of close-ups, right? So these are more like the model. And you can see here we're getting like beautiful variation. It's looking quite good. So this last one, 7420, I think it broke. I think the download broke because it just looks like it's got no model applied. So sadly, the best version we have is here. The hands kind of look best on this, but I love the variation on this. So I would say out of these that like 6360 is the best from the training last night. Offset noise was a huge success. Highly recommend. Like this variation in the hair, in the clothing. Like this is amazing for the model that I provided and the upscaled images. 0 0.9 as well. Like maybe the hands, not great. I think it's slightly undertrained. So 7420 would probably have a slightly better image because you can see a little bit of that undertraining coming out here. But yeah, highly recommend offset noise. Again, you want to set it very low. My offset noise on this was 0 0.3 or 0 0.5, something like that. Sorry, I don't have exact numbers. But I did set it like pretty high. And the Lora quality I set as high as possible as well. So success, in my view, I can go back here and I can pretty much just delete everything on that that I didn't like, which was almost like I don't even want to keep the 5300 one. So we'll just go here and just like get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. The 7020 was from a different one, and the 7420 was the one we're getting rid of, which was the one that didn't download all the way, sadly. Okay, so cool. We got a slightly better Lora there. Let's take a look at Darkroom now. So let's look at classic negative for a prompt. Love this. Oh, it's a 2.1. It might not come through well. Mm, well, we'll do this. Okay, we'll try it. So here, and pretty simple negative. So we're going to do photograph in darkroom style. And we go here, hit refresh. Do we have all the darkrooms loaded? I believe so. What ones did I have? I think I had four, right?
I remember 4, yeah.
Darkroom 4480. Yeah. And these were the lion ones, so they weren't even super great because they went so fast. So we just need to do darkroom. Whoops. Darkroom 4400. Copy paste that here and do num strength. And down here, we're going to do this XY. We will do 440, 880, 1320, 1384. Is that right? Weird jump. I don't know what's going on there. Darkroom. 440, 800, 1320, 1384. Yeah, okay. And then strength we keep the same. And let's generate. Give it a go. And the other thing we wanted to do is once we find this, we can like fine tune the training with a learning rate pass. We could also, to improve this, we could lower the learning rate again, redo the model with Lion, and save epochs much more frequently, save the models, and then get even closer to the neighborhood before like slowing down and doing an atom run. So again, I don't really care about this one. Like I want to, again, the data set's not great. If I was going to do something like what Rob was talking about with photographer, I'd want to get a much more varied data set. I'd want to get a lot more images. I wouldn't flip them. I might handwrite captions. So these are all things to make it better. But honestly, sometimes just quick and dirty, get something done, move on to the next thing can be huge because it can really just get you moving faster, get you making art faster. So, you know, there is an element to perfectionism in training, but don't let it stop you from making good art. You know, you can get very, I mentioned like Hydrus, like I got way too involved in like collecting data sets and looking at images. Like, you know, just keep in mind that a lot of that stuff is noise, and what matters most is like making art and sharing it, people enjoying it. If you want or not, keep it to yourself. But Dreambooth's awesome. We're already getting some super weird results here. I don't know what we're gonna get out of this. Should be hilarious. I think after this XY we can wrap up. Hey, we're at 2.5 hours already.
Hmm. No, this is good. I mean, yeah, if someone says, I want to learn how to do Lora, we'll just, you sit down. It's going to be a 3-hour course almost. And yeah, if you follow along, you'll be a lot better than you were 3 hours prior. So, uh, when people come in and just say, "Oh, I want to do a Lora, how do you do that?" It's like, go watch a 3-hour video. I don't know what else to tell you. Like it's
Well, Well,
this isn't easy, you
there
know.
is like a lot of stuff. Like I will say, like the XY and stuff like that. Like I got it from this video, so I'll post that in the chat.
Yeah, share it.
Um, this was really helpful. But they're just keep in mind with the training stuff that's out there right now, they're using all kinds of different platforms. They're using Colabs, they're using Koya, they're doing it locally, they're doing RunPod, just doing like so much stuff, right? And it's like it's hard to separate the noise from like what's working for them on their platform, on their setup, on their software, and really nail down like what is the actual fundamental rules of training and Dreambooth that apply to all of these things. So, like separating that again, I make the joke about like hitting rocks and trying to make fire. Like we are doing that, and convergence of the model is the fire. So really just focus in on like nailing that piece. Otherwise, you've got the Milanese cargo cult, which is a hilarious story. What's some other stuff in here? Super merger. I tried it, couldn't get it to work. There's a piece in the docs about how to merge Lora's. I would say if you want to merge, like probably a better way to do it. Yeah, I got it. I got it to extract a Lora. So if you need to extract a Lora, there's specific steps on the docs on how to do that. But I couldn't merge Loras. I would say like using just the general merge thing. And if you have your Lora, you can do CKPT training, save that, and then merge that. Now, I'm going to show you guys something that was really interesting when I started training. This XY is going to do what it's doing. We'll go into the large box here. And shit, I can't do it on the large box. I got to spin up another box. Because it's 2.1. So when I started training, I was doing it on 2.1. Because I wanted to, everyone was saying like 2.1 sucks, don't train on 2.1. I was like, I need to try 2.1 and see what's going on with these people. So maybe not the best choice, but I think super merger is something that we should just have as people optionally install. And extension
Yeah.
persistence is something we've talked about a lot too. We want to have it so you guys can like have your extensions, load with them, use them the way you want. You don't have to load them every time. We understand that's a pain because just like certain workflows need certain extensions, but if we put it on everyone's box, it slows everything down for everyone booting. So we have to like keep the booting boxes separate. But if you're okay with a little bit longer boot, you should be able to spin up, your extensions. So we'll work on that. Um, the interesting thing when I was doing this is I did a model in 2.1 and I was getting like okay results. So I was getting like some inconsistency for getting the style to come through. I was getting some terrible eyes. Like even if you look at my one here, you can see why the eyes are kind of crap, right? Like it's art's it's his style. It was he didn't pay much attention to the eyes. You see, you've got this like weirdness. It's just like some of the eyes were really high detail, but there's just a lot of inconsistencies with how the eyes were done. So the model didn't understand like how to make the eyes look good. So I was having lots of problems with faces. Like stuff was coming through quite crappily. And what I decided to try was some merging. And the moment I did some merges, some of them were terrible and nothing happened, but some of them just like opened up that space. So when we're talking about like training, you get that space in the model. The reason why some of these things look so good when they're merged is because that little bit of training can just make it like have such a wider area in that latent diffused space that it's able to reproduce a lot more different styles. When you think about overfitting, right? It's like it's repeating the exact image that you put in your data set. So to reduce that overfitting, these merges help open it up. So I had lots of characters in the same pose, but when I started merging it, they started doing different poses. They started using some of that data from these other models to do that. So it was like a catalyst. Like it was like I can't even, it was like putting gasoline on on a fire with how it changed it. It was like a little fire before and now it's like a huge thing. It was incredible and I got much better results by doing just little tiny merges. I tried a few different ones. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. So I would just recommend that for your own sake with a little model. Try some merges, see what happens. I know it's a little tricky with the Loras and so on, but if you're doing just general Dreambooth training, that can really help. Okay, so we've got Lion. Now, the problem with Lion is because I did the learning rate so high, again, it was 50% the normal speed of Atom on a Lora, which is still very low, but for Lion, it was too high. So you can see here on 1320, I'm getting overfitting. On 880, it's the most interesting, but it's like pretty far off from convergence. We get a little bit of the film grading stuff. So here's down at the bottom is Lora, 9 overfit. Like look how fast it didn't just put a few artifacts in. It like crunched it. It destroyed it. So Lion is like crazy fast. We did this 15 minutes. It said it was expecting to do an hour. Our learning rate was very far off. This is overfit, I would say, but it has some of the qualities. So it's somewhere around here. It's got to be what steps is this? So it's probably between it's probably between 600 and 1200 steps. And again, because the learning rate is so high, it's really hard to tell. So I would lower the learning rate on this pass for sure. Lower it like quite a bit and then save much more frequently. Um, don't even need that many epochs, right? And then we'll be able to figure out what would be the ultimate one. So that's a little challenge. Again, Lion is new. I don't even know what the new torch mode is, but there's a lot to learn from that Lion method. I think there's just some incredible stuff we can get there, but it's going to take some time to figure it out. And again, it's all about experimenting, trying different things, figuring it out. Um, Still waiting for this
I
large
know. Look,
box
I was
here.
looking at that. Can you? I just gotta trying to figure out why that's not booting. Have we tested the new Dreambooth on 2.1 boxes? I'm not even sure if
I don't think
we've
so. No,
tested
no.
that.
It should be
Yeah.
fine, but yeah, we didn't test it at all.
Let me take a look at that real quick.
Couldn't get it to work earlier today. Was that on a 2.1 box, Tokyo? Yeah? 1.5 works fine. Okay. I mean, the vast majority of what we're doing is in 1.5. I will say that it responds much better. You do get a higher quality image in 2.1, but again, the text encoder makes it a little
Is
finicky.
that a is that a medium that
Yeah.
you spun? Okay. 2.1.
Should I try spinning up? This happens, like things get
Um,
stuck in the boot thing sometimes.
yeah, let me look at it real quick. I think I found you.
And yeah, luckily we've got the DevOps masters behind the scenes making sure everything's running. It's a lot of work making sure, boxes don't crash on boot, on closing, and stuff like that. So again, we appreciate your patience in working with this stuff. It's a lot of tech. Like the Dreambooth process in general, just getting it into working, we got into like nitty gritty code. We had it working for a bit. There was like an actual code change that I had found with, believe it or not, it was like, wasn't it like clip skip like deforum? There was like some
In
little
the
like
form,
there was some little tweak that we did where we got it working, but it was like not working with Xformers and FP16. It was just like working with default, and you know, um, we have like different drivers for these data center cards and stuff. So like, and it's on Linux. So people don't build for this stuff often. And a lot of times, if you want it, you have to build it yourself, and we can't just build everything. So we're trying to find the best way to balance getting the latest stuff out, keeping it operational for you guys, but also just keep in mind that the area that we do this in is a little weird, and we are breaking into new territory here. Tokyo says, I've gotten some great models by having a super overtrained one where it's picture perfect locked in, but then I merge it with a checkpoint model that's relatively close, and boom, you get some great stuff. Yes. Saying he couldn't get 2.1 working earlier, but 2.1 is strange. In some ways, it's better, but it feels more restrictive. That's the text encoder. Yeah. Both in actions, focus, and also in style. Yes. Text encoder. It's like, it's so pretty, but it's very rigid. And the merging is what opens that up, allows it to breathe a little bit. It's very interesting. Hey, we're up. Bad gateway. Oh, I'm out of storage.
Is that why?
Sorry.
Oh, that's why.
Knew it would happen. Yeah, because I loaded all these
Yeah.
500 gig files
Let
in.
me. Is that what it is? Let me
Yeah,
see
yeah, yeah,
here.
yeah. Damn it. Hate that. But
No, I don't know. Hang on. Are you sure you're out of storage?
pretty sure. I just put like 4 gigs in there.
No, I'm looking here. Looks like you're okay. Here, let me
Uh,
just. I'm just gonna boot manually and just see what errors I get. It's probably something dumb.
okay.
Live tech support.
Yeah.
Yeah, to kind of reiterate on what you were saying, one single file misplaced could cause your entire box not to boot. So it's definitely fickle and
Yeah.
and frustrating.
I'm going to actually
So
do
it says it's got an issue. Oh, this is weird. It failed on
Oh, on a
your
model.
embeddings, loading your embeddings.
It's a new model that I put in. What is this?
Your coloring book?
Coloring book. I just downloaded that one.
Yeah, that one, it failed loading that. So
Oh, okay.
rename it or move it, and then I can try and boot.
That's too bad because that's a black and white one I wanted to merge with, but that's funny. That's fine. All right, so it's here and something
Yeah,
coloring book.
this is tough. We're trying to figure out how we can show people, a boot error. It's kind of
Where
hard.
where is that coloring book one? What is it?
V2 models, V2 coloring book.
Oh, I
Yeah,
downloaded it
it's
to
in
the
your.
wrong folder. That's my fault.
Oh, okay.
Because it would be models V2 and then coloring book. Oh no, coloring book I've had for a while. Oh no, yeah, that's definitely 369 bytes. It just like didn't download fully.
Oh, yeah, that's way too small.
Yeah. Oh no, that was a YAML file. Hmm. It's this one. Okay. Oh, so the YAML files can crash your box. You have to watch out with that. YAMLs can do that. Disable safe pickle. I think we need the safe pickle. I don't know why, but burgers are better with pickles. So, um,
So
yeah,
I do have a
Tokyo.
flag that disables safe on pickle. Do I need to get rid of that?
We can try. Again, we have to test. We should probably do that on our like beta box and make sure everything runs before we break it for everyone. But if I
I
refresh
do
it,
see a little, yeah, I do see a little bug too that
can we get the
um,
this LG box working? It's got a bad gateway there in the
I
corner.
think so. Yeah, give me 1 second.
We're not saving diffusion rates. That's right. Just save if you save the checkpoints and say and regularly save, then like I had in the settings, then it will just keep saving your safe tensors files. If you go into the extension Dreambooth folder, you'll see the PT files, and then you can train from those points. So yeah, no need to save the diffusion weights unless you're doing something really weird.
All right, it's booting. Give it a second.
I had sent Darkroom to some some folks earlier, and it was like a different version. It was one that I had not used Lion, I had used Atom, narrowed it in. He got some crazy photos from it. But a
Hmm.
lot of it is the prompt, like just keep that in mind that there's different things in photography. There's this like concept of
Okay, you're good.
yeah, of the triangle.
Sorry.
So it's like in photography you have this triangle. Can I make it? Yeah, polygon. So in photography you have this triangle, right? And on the top is your shutter speed, and then down here you have your ISO, and then here you have your focus depth. And all three of these things affect how much light comes into the lens, right? So shutter speed is how long the shutter's staying open. Focus depth is like what amount of light is coming in. The shallower depth of field that you have, the more light that comes in when the shutter's open. And the ISO is actually like in digital cameras, it's a digital emulation, but in original film, it's like what the rating of your film is and how it reacts to the light. So if you change one of these things in a camera, it will overall, this is all of this is light. So the reason why I'm mentioning this in Stable Diffusion is if we rewrote this, it would be like prompt models. And what would the other one be? Other settings. And this would be diffusion. So just keep this in mind. Like changing any one of these things could vastly affect like how your model responds, right? Um, Changing these settings could affect what parts of your prompt come out. So they're all interrelated, and just think of that like by changing one, you're changing these other two. So if we did this, it would be like, right? It's like we can change the settings and it will pull it further away from the prompt because maybe we have less steps or different sampler, or um, maybe it's actually pulling from a different area because of the prompt and it's not in the area that we trained our model for, right? So just keep that in mind. That's new. I'm going to patent that. That's the three
You
point
should be up.
method.
I just tested. Oh yeah, you got it. There you
3 point method. Okay, so this is closest to the original one that I did. So this is um, a just trained on the data set. Sorry, we're getting close to the end here. My brain's starting to break a little bit. Um, I think in this one I had some class images. I'm not sure, but I was getting like okay responsiveness out of it. But this merge here, this is what I've been using. And this is what I posted in the um, Creators Club the other day. So if you haven't seen that model, check it out. I'd love to see what you make with it. And this is a combination of my training with this C model, which was a weird like plastic 3D render portrait one, with vector arts, which was a very thick outline like logo illustration one. And then SSLT was like a weird one that I picked up off Hugging Face called Slate, where the guy trained it off of like 300,000 images. Like he was taking weeks to train his model. Um, Totally absurd uh, training. I can't even explain like just how bonkers it is. So so let's pull up. Why don't I just ping info like a cool one? Be faster. We'll just go in here and test fairy lady here. Okay. Boom. And we do not need this. I actually don't know what the prompt on this one is because I didn't really train it for prompt. And then get the negative here. So again, this one was on deliberate, right? So it's going to look a little bit different. And let's see what it looks like. 35 dpm2m. Cool. Let's see what we get. I remember not being too happy with this model, so just keep that in mind. Oh, yeah, okay, okay. So you can see getting the, I haven't used this for a while, um, sort of similar faces, interesting hair, um, but losing a lot of the dynamics from the original image, which was this, right? Which deliberate had much more. You can see that it's like very focused on the face. I guess we do have close-up portrait, but it's responding in that certain way. And it is 2.1, so we can get 768. Let's actually try that. Oh, some little errors in there. Sweet lips. Okay, buddy. Take out the deep buru stuff. Oh, very similar, right? Like we're getting wild hair, blue, um, but do we have any neon fireflies? Do we have white particles? You're getting a little bit of it. Beautiful clear background. So the other version of this model wasn't based off this training. So this was a retraining that I did trying to get like a better base model to merge with. Because the merge was so good, I was trying to replicate it. But you can see like the makeup's way overdone, right? Like this is like extreme. Like I was looking for more subtle stuff. But I did like some of the little details. So if we try this other model here,
While that loads, Tokyo has a question. Is there a preference to models to merge into when it comes to checkpoints versus safe tensors? I mean, the base model, the Dreambooth Lora model is built into or onto.
no, safe tensors is just a safe version. Checkpoints you can actually have code run on them, like code can execute, which for people running locally is a huge issue. With you guys on the cloud, not really an issue. You just shut down your box, done, reset it, game over, hacker. Um, but yeah, you don't need to really worry about that, and they blend and work the same. Hi, Lynn. I know. I didn't notice the chat at first either. I was like,
I know, I
what?
saw Wind Fusion pop in and I was sitting here going, usually they're pretty vocal. I wonder where they are.
Yep. Okay, so we've got this weird merge up here. Let's pop it in and see what we get. So right away, you see a lot of it's the same, but there's kind of like a different elegance to it. Oh, um, well, Lynn's here. We can talk about breaking stuff. I want to talk about the weirdest thing about automatic. People don't talk about this. It's a little bit strange, but I have a theory. So my theory is that there's a memory leak. Okay, like see, just look at this. Like the line detailing from vector arts comes through. Hands actually like pretty good. Eyes are great. Yes, makeup is overdone. Could probably tone that down with this. But like these compared to what this one looks like actually illustration style, like just way nicer. I just like really like how this comes out compared to the other ones. Like look at this like detailing on there. Like just way more fun. And we can try like messing with some of this stuff too. Take out a little bit of the stuff here, maybe make it a bit more obvious. Okay, so the weird thing, there's a memory leak. So what does that mean? And I saw one post on Reddit about this theory, which was very funny. But when you're working from one prompt to another, changing models, doing all this stuff, there's a chance that each prompt that you use will bleed into the next. So if you do a bunch of wildly different stuff, you'll see that some of your stuff may stay the same. And what I've noticed is if you change your sampler, I think you could kind of like break free of it. But sometimes you'll find that you like, even if you change the prompt rapidly to something vastly different, it'll still sort of look the same as your other one. And a sign of that is, I'm just going to take out all these negatives and see what happens. A sign of that is the could be the memory leak happening, but it will look like very similar. Like I've seen times when it like I generate and each one has like a archway behind it, and then I'll do a totally different one, and the archway is still there, and I'm like, what? So yes, Lynn is of course already aware and exploiting it, and happens on DPM samplers. So yeah, change the sampler if you notice that happening. It should like clean it up, start diffusing it differently, and very fun. Okay, question: is there a preference to no, no, we got that one. Tokyo, were you asking about batch count, batch size? Were you asking about that?
I can chime in on that. Now you're talking about, so there's batch size and batch count. Everyone's aware of the difference, I'm assuming. Um, Batch count is how many, yeah, just basically how many images. Batch size is how many images per batch. We worked with somebody who needed just some craziness, a lot of images in a very short time. We were able to get the batch size up to 200, and we generated a lot of images with that workflow, and the images looked great. So I will say though, when we started changing prompts, that memory leak issue, we started noticing. So in between each job, we would just kill the box and boot it up again. That is because of some of this prompt leak, memory leak, model leak. We don't really know. This was about a month ago. And so just be aware of that. Batch size should speed up your generation, and it shouldn't be. Now, listen, everything in the batch size will look kind of similar because I believe it uses the same seed. And so if you're using the same seed and the same settings for that batch, you'll have, a batch of five that all looks, or four or whatever, that all looks kind of similar. But they'll be different, and you'll have some variations to choose from. It's a good tool to use because it allows you to kind of, find that vein, that ore vein that you're looking for of a good place to start mining for these images you're looking for. But yeah, to answer your question, I haven't really noticed that batches cause issues unless you start pushing it on a small box. Then you'll get some artifacts, you'll get some noise problems, you'll just get some garbage images. And then you'll know that you've gone too high on the batch. So dial that down or dial
Yeah,
your settings
and
down.
and models leak too. Yep.
Yeah.
So, yep, good points here. Just lots to avoid. I think we've got like okay. I showed you kind of this is the model I posted, the Mystic Arts one. Um, I've shown you like a lot of stuff. I'm getting exhausted and I'm starting to feel it in my
Yeah, we can
throat.
start to
So,
wrap this up.
yeah, awesome. Well, thanks everyone. Really appreciate it. Super fun. We will have a recording available. It's still chunking along here. Um, and
We'll do more of these.
yeah,
We have some ideas with some ControlNet stuff. ControlNet inside Dreambooth. We're looking into that. Training's pretty hot because training allows, I believe, a lot of businesses, can use trainings, and learning how to do training kind of gives you some cool skills if you're interested in moving into helping businesses develop custom models for their use cases. It's kind of nice to have those skills handy. We don't really know where we're going with all of this. And then there's of course just having fun and using this for entertainment and using this for to sharpen your artistic ability. There's a lot of reasons to learn this, but we want to do a lot of these. Revolved is part of Run Diffusion, so he's going to uh, just come up with some ideas every week. We might even recycle some of these, reteach them with some new updates with within automatic and some of these extensions. So yeah, just stay subscribed, come back. We're gonna try and do a lot of these. Another thing you can all help with in the general forum is people are asking questions about Creators Club and what it's all about. It's not just 100 gigs of storage. I mean, if it's kind of overpriced if you're just buying 100 gigs of storage. It's kind of an experience. You get all the toys, all the updates, all the support. You get to talk with us one on one. Any one of you could have raised your hand and spoken to us. I don't know of any other service that offers anything like that. And that's really what that value is. So talk with people as they, in the general forum. If they have questions about Lora, you can say, oh, they just did this huge 3-hour Lora training. It was amazing. Try and help them find their way into Creators Club because it is a really good experience for people, especially around this technology that's so new. We're into it 8 hours a day, finding out I mean, think of how much time you've saved just by being in here for an hour. If you were gonna do this yourself, it would have been 10, 20, 30, 40 hours, right? So that's kind of the value. You're saving a lot of time, and that's kind of what you're paying for. You're kind of helping us finance the hours upon hours we train and learn all this stuff. So without your support, none of this would be possible. And I feel like I'm a basic YouTuber now, but no, really, like without your support, we would have nothing to show. So thank you.
Yep. Like, subscribe, post,
Yeah.
post a
Comment,
comment.
like, subscribe.
Yeah.
It's just so funny. It really is true, that you are the lifeblood here, and so yeah. Speak up if you need anything. We're here to help. Just be patient with some of the stuff that we're trying to work through. Again, we have a whole pipeline of awesomeness coming, so stick around.
Yeah. Right
Anything
on.
else? Any other quick questions or? Thanks, Lynn. Yep, we think it's a good value too. Yeah, any other questions before we peel off? I think we're all of our brains are melted. So
3 hour
until the
mark.
next
Woo.
one. Oh, we got Rob trying to say something. We'll wait for that. No, we're good. No,
No.
okay, cool.
No. Melted.
Yeah. All right.
Melted. Thanks for
Thanks,
sticking
everybody.
around. I know a lot of you like came in early at 9 for my time, stayed for 3 hours. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Lots of love for you guys, and I can't wait to see what awesome models you train. Please share them in the group. I will, of course, share anything I create with Creators Club. So yeah, keep it
Thanks,
diffusing, and
Revolved. We love you. You're amazing.
thanks. Thanks, guys. Ciao. Have a great day.
See you, everybody.